kissing me good time. And all I wanna do is make it better. Pretty little baby, you have kissing me good time. And all I wanna do is make it better. I can never tell you that I did love you now. And the love that I can convey.
Boom! Go Getters Podcast. We're back again with our great friend Mirek. Man, you brought us, well, it's not necessarily a gift, but you did bring something cool for us to see. Check this out. So for the people that are at home watching this podcast right now, we did this podcast, I believe it was in July. That's what I said, right? It was sometime in July we did the last podcast, and we were talking about the release of this book that you had coming out. Here it is. You did it, and you brought it here all the way from Poland back to the great grand Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So here we go.
That's not your first book, right?
No, it's actually my third book, but second in English, and first like printed copy, because the first in English was just an ebook.
How long did it take for you to come up with the idea, compile all the information, write it, put all the pictures in there? Because there's a lot of pictures, Kev, if you want to go through it.
Yeah, here, I'll see if I can use Darren's camera.
There's a lot of pictures in it. So how long did it take you to complete this whole project?
Well, the idea was in my head for a long time, because my workshops were based on those 10 physical aspects of performance. So I would talk about it for a few years already. Then when I finished my last book, I wanted to write a new one. So I actually asked people around, like my coaches, and I think one of my physiotherapists actually said you should write a book about the 10 physical aspects of sports performance and how strength training relates to that and how you can train for that. Because you always talk about it, but you can actually expand on that. I was like, hey, that's a good idea. So I started writing it, I just caught a flow of writing and just kept writing. Then after the first chapter, I think in Polish, I'm like, I should just write in English as well, because I knew if I finish in Polish, it would be hard for me to translate 400 pages to English. So I'm like, but if I go like chapter by chapter, I could just do it both at the same time. So I was writing in Polish and English, one chapter in Polish, one chapter in English, and just kept going like that. It's probably like anywhere between 6 and 12 months. I wrote the whole thing.
That's relatively quick, I would imagine, for an author to write a book. Like I hear some stories of authors who, they could be writing a book for 6 years.
Yeah.
But did you write it all longhand, or did you type it out?
I type it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did everything on my computer. But I mean, it's fast because once I get into it, I do it every day. Like I have this routine when I want to do something and I'm doing any task that I get into and I'm passionate about. I try to put like one break at a time, but put that break every day. Like there would be days where I had less time or I was more tired. I didn't have that much time, so I would just open up and I'll be like, all right, just one sentence, like one, just put a dot here, just whatever. And I knew that from experience that, it leads to something great, because every day you do something and then in a month you look at it like, hey, 10 pages already, like then 20 pages, 50. But you have to do it every day. You have to be consistent. Because if you skip a few days, you just I get out of groove. Like I have to be in a groove the whole time. And once I get in the groove, I can do it really, really fast and I can do something good. So it was with that, and that's how this book was written so fast, because of that.
Yeah. Did you have any type of like ritual for it where you did you wake up early in the morning when like the family might have still been asleep rather? Would you get it done in the morning? Would you work on it more at night when everything was said and done, you're done training? Because you're a busy guy outside of doing this too. So like how much time in a day were you given to this one? And was there any specific, like, I guess you could say ritual that you followed that helped you get into the mode to write the book better?
Yeah, I think this book was like one of my last projects that I actually did on my old schedule. So my old schedule was like coming from work, obviously playing with kids, doing the housework stuff, putting kids to bed around, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., eating dinner, taking a shower, eating dinner, then sitting down at my computer at like 10:30, 11 p.m. Usually, and then writing till whenever I felt going to sleep. So sometimes it was midnight, sometimes it was 1, sometimes it was 2. The younger I was, I could stay up. I found out I could stay up later. The older I've gotten, I was getting tired earlier. That's why I kind of changed my schedule now, where I go to bed pretty much right after kids. So my kids go to bed now. It's school again, so they will be in bed by 9. So I give myself an hour to shower and do whatever I have to do and be in bed by 10.
Yeah.
And then I get up at 5 and work. So like towards the end of this book, the English part had to be edited. So I did that on my new schedule when I would get up in the morning. And I found that at this age, that works so much better for me.
Yeah.
Because I tried it a few years ago and I could never get into it because I would wake up in the morning at like 5 and then I would sit at my computer and I like just fall asleep. And even though it was 7 hours of sleep, I was just like tired in the morning. But at this time, I was thinking like, all right, let me give this one more try because I know great things happen to your brain between 10 p.m. and midnight. There are certain things that are released by the brain that help the brain recover. So I was like, let me get into that. Like I always wanted to. Maybe it's time. And it was time. Like the first day I went to bed at 10. I woke up at like 5:30, I remember. And I woke up, I sat at my computer. I'm like, this feels great. I feel rested.
Yeah.
Everyone is sleeping. I don't have to stress about going to bed because before it was like I would sit down at 11 p.m. like, damn, I only have an hour, or like, it was only 6 hours now till I have to get up. And I was thinking about that all the time. But now I get up at 5:30, and I know I have those 2 hours where my kids are still sleeping, wife is still sleeping, the house is pretty much quiet, and I already slept 7 hours, so I don't have to worry about that. And I found it works for me much better. So when I was editing this book in English, I did it in the morning. So that's my new schedule now. It works for me. So that's how it is.
So you wrote all the Polish literature as well as all the English literature too? It was all you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then you also did all the illustrations by yourself too, which is also crazy. For the people, you might have seen it when I pulled it up in Darian's camera angle before, but every picture in the book is of you, I believe, right? Is there anybody else that you got involved to like help you shoot or do anything like that?
No, it was the plan initially. I wanted to get like maybe 1 or 2 people involved. Maybe at the initial stages, I thought maybe I get 1 male athlete, 1 female athlete. And then I just, from experience, I knew like there's not that many people that can perform all the exercises perfectly. Like people have different restrictions, mobility restrictions, movement restrictions, injuries. I'm like, and I didn't want to show something that was not correct.
Yeah.
Because those exercises, I'm very specific about exercise technique. So when I prescribe something, I want that to be done perfectly. I mean, unless you have restrictions, obviously, then you have to work around that or just do your best that you can do. But I wanted to show the exercises in a perfect scenario. And then I figured out that the only person I can actually do that is myself.
Yeah.
And it actually worked out great because it was faster. I could just change from exercise to exercise fast. I knew when to take a shot. So I would tell my photographer, like, now shoot, this position. Shoot, whatever. So it was much faster, and it still took many hours.
Yeah.
Because it was like 500 pictures. And then putting that together in a book was tough because some of the exercises they start at different phases. They repeat themselves, or like the implement would change. So like it would be a squat, but it wouldn't be with a barbell, like a different barbell. Like the front squat, the barbell would be in front, or like different depths of the squat, like the half squat, quarter squat, full squat, like 3/4 squat, whatever. So we had to stop at different phases and things like that and put that in a book in the correct sequence. So pictures were one thing, but then when I got all those pictures, now putting them in a book in the correct order, it was a lot of work. So it was almost the edition part of the book almost took as long as writing the book itself. So because I publish everything, I do everything myself. I don't go to the publisher. So I would hire obviously the photographer, the editor for the book, and then the graphic designer that puts the book together. So he does the cover. Then he does all the texts, like adjusting of the text, putting the pictures together, so everything flows nicely and things like that. So I would hire those people independently, and then contact the printing company too. So I print that myself as well.
Interesting.
So
That's
that takes a lot of time, but I did it. We did it with my business partner with our first book, and it worked out perfectly because if you go to the publisher, you pretty much lose 90% of the profits.
Is that how it works? Like they want a cut of it?
Yeah, they take like 90%.
Really?
Like 95 sometimes. So you pretty much don't make anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So like the only people that go through publishers are people that just produce books for a living. Like they write a book, like they open Microsoft Word, whatever. They write a book in 6 months. They send it out. They write a new one. Send it out. And write new. So they sell books like they selling like,
that's their business.
candy, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So they sell many books, so they can still make a lot of profit. But if I publish a book every few years. Like if I do that, I'm not making any profit. It's not like I'm a millionaire because of this book anyway, but I just feel like this is my baby.
Yeah.
I don't want to give somebody else money that they don't really deserve. Plus, in today's world with social media, like you don't need like you don't need a publisher to get the book out there. I can get the book out there myself. You know what I mean? I have social media. We did it before, so I learned how to do that. So that's why I would do that myself. So I would still lose probably 30% of the profits from the book because of the taxes and then the printing and then you have to pay the graphic designer, which is obviously expensive, and the photographer and all that. But still, this is the money I'm choosing to pay those people to do that for me, and then I have a satisfaction that I actually did this myself the way I wanted to be done.
Yeah, you brought it into the real world. You had an idea, and now it's a physical copy sitting in front of us.
How many pages is in this book, too?
It's over 400, I think.
Wow.
And did you have like a page goal that you wanted to reach?
No, I didn't know how long it was. I actually was surprised it was this big when I arrived, when it printed. The first time I didn't think it was going to be that thick because of the pictures, and then the graphic designer, the way he explained it to me, because I told him maybe it's too thick because of some pages would be like 3 pictures and like just 3 words or something.
Yeah.
But he said like the way, if you want to show the exercises, they have to flow nicely. Like you can't have half of the exercise on this page and then other half on the other page. Like we have to be on the same page in the same order and things like that. So there's some blank spaces, but it's intentional for the book to flow really nice. So you get one idea on one page and then you move on to the next idea on the next page. But for the book to work, it has to be done that way, because it's not like a novel when you just it's just words. So that's why.
And what's that conference that's happening at King's? Is that a specific conference that you guys are speaking at? What's that all about?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 different conferences going on this week. So Friday and Saturday. So
That's what brought you into town, right?
Yep, exactly. That's why I'm here. So Friday, and to record a podcast with you guys.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it, man.
So Friday is actually organized by King's College. It's a human performance conference. So I'm going to talk about strongman, actually conditioning, but for athletes. So we use modified strongman conditioning. We can talk about that a little later, because that's actually a fun topic. So Friday, I'm going to talk about that for the Human Performance Conference organized by King's. But also Saturday, there's an NSCA, which is National Strength and Conditioning Association, regional conference that's at King's College as well. That's a separate thing going on. But soon as we found out, soon as we organized, Dr. Jan actually and Dr. Grohowski made it happen that the NSCA actually is coming to King's. We figure we just run a different conference on the day before, since I'm going to be here anyway, and we have some other people coming. So there's 2 different conferences going on this week. Really good, really treat for the students, for anyone interested in sports performance, strength and conditioning, nutrition, whatever. It's a really good weekend because it's really cheap too. Like Friday is like free for the students, and like Saturday is like $50 or something. So it's really good speakers, like high quality speakers. And I'm here both days, and I'm speaking Friday, and I'm speaking Saturday. And Saturday topic is actually from the book, so it's strength training for agility. So I'm going to talk about some of the exercises and some of the protocols I use to increase agility.
Now, is it like similar to, like, I guess you could just say a general lecture, or like a TED Talk, where you get up on stage and you kind of just address the audience about, you said acceleration specifically, right, on Saturday?
Agility,
rather.
Yep.
So, so you would just talk about all things, I guess. It doesn't have to be what you laid out in your book, but just all your knowledge about that topic?
Yeah, I mean, you only have 50 minutes, so you have to cram it.
50 or
50?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, every time I do a presentation, like I start off with like journal things, and then I just add up slides, and it's like, damn, it's too much. Like I have to like delete some of the slides. So you do get up on stage, you get a presentation. Obviously, there's things you want to say, but then things you want to show that you can't really show unless you put videos up. So I do have videos of athletes performing different things, because it's always easier to understand when you see things. You can talk about Olympic weightlifting, blah blah blah, but some people might not know how exactly some of the variations look, and different methods, how they look, and things like that. So I do have a lot of videos. So I always try to, when I do a presentation, not only like show them, like tell them what to do and how I do it, but also show a lot of videos and like sample workouts and sample training sessions. So I do that too. So I have like a lot of actual training sessions written down of how many reps, sets, tempo, rest periods, exercise order, and all that thing. So I'm trying to give as much as I can always, and share as much as I can.
One thing I wanted to ask you specifically about the book, kind of going back to that for a second, when you were writing this, obviously this was something that I guess you had planned to do for a lot of time. You wanted to write a book and you wanted to show the illustrations. Did you ever consider doing anything like, I guess a course wouldn't be the right way to say it, but like some type of video collage of like you showing all of these workouts to like, you could then market that to people, or even like do something similar to YouTube where you could actively show people like all of these workouts and stuff like that too.
I mean, everything takes time.
For sure.
For sure. That's a limited commodity in my life. So I do have to pick and choose what I want to do, but I would definitely do that. Like, there's many things I do want to do. It's just a time constraint, and like, my question is to be like, okay, I'll do this, but how the return worth all the time I'm going to put into it? So it could be worth it. But it could be not. I don't know. But that's something I thought about when I was actually putting this book together. I was going to maybe do like supplementary videos actually with those exercises, because pictures obviously is one thing, but when you see them whole movement, it's so much better. So do like a video library of all the exercises in a book. Or something like that, but it might be coming in the future.
In the fitness industry, I mean, there's like, we talk about it all the time, like there's fads everywhere, and like you're kind of getting misled by so many different people on the net. I feel like somebody like you would do a great job in terms of the fitness, because that is I guess you could say a niche of content creation that is a bit more saturated. Would you say a lot of people do?
Yeah, there's a lot of
fitness content. 100%. I would say so too, but that's kind of what I mean. It gets a little murky where like some people you don't really know who to trust, and that's why I don't really watch a lot of fitness content, because you never know really if somebody's right or if somebody's wrong or what they're trying to sell you. So like, I don't know. I think somebody like you with your knowledge and your passion behind, fitness and stuff like that, I think you would do a killer job at it. But you're right. It does take a lot of time. That's the only problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's interesting you were saying how you had to be the one in all the photos because there were potential that other people might have had like limited restrictions in their movements or anything like that. I wonder, like, do you think that you've addressed all of the limitations in your mobility or perhaps injuries that might restrict some of your exercises or capabilities in the gym?
Yeah, I think I'm 99.9%.
You think you're solid?
In everything. Yeah, I'm solid in everything.
That's freaking awesome, man. I'll tell you what, like I just went and did physical therapy. Yeah. And I did it not for any particular reason. Like I was having some back pain, but I worked with this girl. Shout out to, she's going to be at that conference too, by the way. Her name is Casey Miller at Prime PT. And she was just like working on my body and helping me to understand like these little deficiencies. And then like she looked at my squat mechanics and was like, yo, this is shit, man. Like, and it's interesting too, because now I have homework and like PT stuff that I'm doing at home. But that stuff is really interesting to figure out within yourself and know like, I did a test with Dr. G where I sat against the wall and I tried to pick my arms all the way up over my head, and I couldn't do that. Yeah. And I'm 23. And, it's like, it's crazy. Yeah. It's wild. So that's one thing that I definitely want to work on as well, like getting more into the physical therapy aspect of things and addressing some limitations and restrictions in terms of my movement.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually one of the chapters in the book, how strength training improves mobility training. So throughout the years, I found out I wasn't doing any mobility, any stretching really, any foam rolling, nothing for the past like 10 years, 15 years now. And not just doing strength training in full range of motion helped me to get my squat better, get my arms overhead better, like have no restrictions if like flexion, extension, knee flexion, hip extension, hip flexion, and anything like that. So ankle mobility got better, pain disappeared, anything, because when I was playing basketball, it was different things. I was hurting obviously when I retired, but now it's like I have nothing.
So you think you can address those limitations through the exercises themselves, or do you think that you have to do the PT first to allow for deeper ranges of motion or more mobility when performing the exercises?
It depends. So you can go both ways. Like the best case scenario would be if you're really bad, to do the PT and then get under the bar and do the strength training. So every time you do it, like for example, you lack shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion. So if somebody does manual therapy on you, improves the range of motion, and now it's the time to get into the gym to work on like overhead pressing, full chin-ups, full pull-ups, and things like that. So now you have this new range of motion that wasn't there before, but that new range of motion is weak in that specific range of motion, right? So if you don't strengthen that, it's going to go back to the initial position, because the body is smart. Like it knows that if you stay within that range of motion that's weak and unstable, you might get hurt.
Yeah.
So the only way to improve that and make that permanent is to weight train under load, because then the best way to strengthen that would be with like heavy load.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just stretch it, it's always gonna go back to the beginning. So the best way would be to stretch it and then load it with weight. Actually.
Yeah. See, I always wondered, like, and this is one thing I really want to talk to that Bobby Thompson guy about, so I'm excited for that. But at what point does it become too heavy? You know, like to the point where it might be actually like too much of a load for your bones and your muscles to manage over time?
Not an easy question. I think if you feel good, you're not injured.
Yeah.
You don't have any overuse injuries. You don't have to take drugs to kill pain. You recover from it. It never gets too heavy, really.
You can just be a monster.
Yeah,
you can just lift
keep
up
going. Yeah,
cars and shit.
Well, I don't know if you can lift up cars with no pain and no injuries and no
Yeah.
painkillers and no performance enhancing things.
Yeah.
So the way I train and live my life, like I try to be as strong as I can, but not for the cost of my health.
For
right?
sure.
So, and pain. Like I want to sleep at night with no painkillers. I want to have a good night of sleep. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to do activities with my kids. I want to do daily activities. I wanted to be able to get into those different positions that are in my book of different exercises. I wanted to show exercises and demonstrate those exercises to my athletes and clients and things like that. And I want to digest food properly. I want to eat good food and sleep good and feel good. And then if I do that and then gain strength over time, little by little, I don't think you can ever be too strong, but I don't think I'm going to get to the point where I can lift up cars.
Yeah.
That's like next level shit.
That's
Like you have to get into like, you almost have to be willing to die almost, right? To be the world's strongest man.
You got to be a savage. You got to
Yeah.
have a different type of mindset, man. That's a whole different thing, I think. Because like you're trying to optimize, like how strong can I possibly get
while being healthy?
Yeah, while being healthy. But it doesn't. It's no longer. It's like it's not of utility after that.
Yeah.
It's just like it's more for performance and for show, and I guess for the sport of it.
Yeah, it's like if you ask. I mean, you can ask him. Like strongman or like powerlifters, like they don't want to be healthy necessarily. They just want to be the strongest people in the world. Like they don't want to be the healthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
They know that. They know it's not healthy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some like powerlifters or like strongmen would just eat like McDonald's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Or like 5 times a day sometimes or something to gain weight.
Or even if they're eating like 6,000 calories, like that can't be good for a digestive system, right?
They eat like 10,000.
You
Is that right?
ever see like those Brian Shaw videos? I think it was Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
I believe he did like a kitchen breakdown. He did like a video where he cooked food the one day, and he was like showing the steak, the eggs, the sausages, the turkey, the beef, whatever. I've seen this video a long time, and it might not even have been Brian Shaw, but it was like them cooking all of that and then meal prepping it and then showing you like how much calories he had to like intake in the given day. And I wish I remembered what it was. I don't, but it was insane. Like showing like what he was cooking and how much of it he was going to actually be eating in that day. I couldn't do that shit.
Have you ever heard of blue zones? Did we talk about that in the last pod?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
did we talk about how people who live in those areas tend to eat up until the point where they're like 70% full? They're not like 100% full.
Yep.
So that they're not overtaxing their digestive system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's wise, but I don't abide by that at all, man. Like I eat until I feel like shit.
That's why you should eat slow, because the fullness comes slowly. So if you just go like that, then by the time you're full, it's too late.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to chew your food and kind of eat slow.
I heard a story of these guys who lived in a Buddhist monastery. They would get like one bowl of food a day, and they had to eat it over the course of an hour. And so, it was also, training for their mind as well to not just, dive into temptation, like just because they're so hungry, they just want to eat all the food quick, but it's like a practice to eat slowly as well. And perhaps that's the reason.
Exactly. There's good research now too, that fasting for like 12 to 14 hours at least, which is not like a long time, but actually kills cancer cells. I don't know if you guys heard that.
No.
So yeah, when your body is kind of hungry, it starts to eat itself.
Yeah.
But it eats the bad stuff. So like cancer cells and things that are bad for you, toxins and things like that. So it gets rid of the bad stuff. So like that's what I try to implement into my life now. When I started to go to bed earlier, I'm trying to eat by like 7 p.m. at the latest, and then the next day. And I have the comfort of having my own gym, so I usually get in there by 10. So I try to eat breakfast at like 9. So that's like a 14-hour kind of fast.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
I wake up at 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
5 is fucking savage, bro.
I know.
We're with a Viking, bro.
I click snooze, bro. That's my job.
I heard this recently. I don't know the validity of it, but maybe you'll know a little bit more. I heard that there's a difference in the effect that fasting has between men and women. And I don't think, I don't know, it might have been just a janky reel that I saw on Instagram, but fasting isn't as beneficial for women than it might be for men. Do you have any knowledge on that or any speculation as to why that might be?
I'm not sure, but we work with a dietitian now in my gym, and she said something similar. And it has to do with the ovulation process in women. I know when they ovulating, fasting is not good for them. They have to get the calories in. But I'm not. I know it's related to hormones for sure.
Yeah. So you did a presentation on strength training or sports performance and strongman training, right? You kind of did like a hybrid of the two.
I'm doing it Friday. Yeah.
So you already have the presentation and stuff ready?
Yeah.
Are you able to drop some of the cliff notes and how those two things work together?
Yeah. So for conditioning with athletes, obviously the best way to condition in any sport would be to play that sport.
Wait, can I pause you really quick?
Yeah.
Do you practice these presentations before, or are you just going and winging it?
No. So yeah, there's two different schools of thought. So one of my people I look up to is always like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I read his biography many times, and he would practice his speeches for like 500 times sometimes when he was a governor. So I tried to do that. It never works for me. I could never get into that state of mind until I'm actually at that particular moment.
Interesting.
So I go over it, and then like I make sure everything's perfect, and then I get on stage and I go. So I never practice.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
That works for me. So I think it's two different kinds of people. One person can practice and can go over that, but when one just goes and
preparedness
speaks.
and flow.
Yeah. And before you get into that, what he was just asking you prior to that, what was your first experience like? Your first time ever public speaking or getting up in front of a crowd? What was the preparation or the mind state getting ready for that for you like?
It was funny because like obviously the first one was like public speaking classes in college.
Oh, okay.
And I had that. It wasn't easy because my English was obviously not as good then. So it was tough, but it was like short presentations. Yeah. So that was okay. But
like in front of the class, correct?
Yeah, in front of the class, yeah. But the first one, actually, like my workshop that I did, it was funny because then I was in the US for a long time, so that then I kind of forgot Polish a little bit, especially the training terminology in Polish. So when I went back to Poland in 2016, a week after, we organized a seminar, and I was going to do it with my business partner. And then at the last moment, he said, "Oh, I forgot I got practice. I got to leave you for 2 hours." I'm like, fuck. Like, I don't know all these words in Polish. Like, there was, like, I don't know what eccentric contraction is. Or, like, I don't know how to say certain exercises. So that was kind of stressful for me because I didn't know. So I had to, like, do hybrid of English terminology and Polish terminology. So, but it's like with everything. The more you practice, the more you get into the flow and the less nervous you feel. So we do a lot of workshops now in my gym for different coaches and things. And the more I speak, the better I feel, obviously. If there's a new topic, then there's obviously more nervous. Yeah. But if it's the same topic, like for the 50th time, you kind of, you know what to expect and you feel better. But I never do practice that.
You just get in there and do your thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So the intertwining of sports performance and strongman.
Yeah. So if you're an athlete in any sport, so conditioning is very specific. So you can't do boxing to get ready for football. Like you get some general conditioning, right, endurance, but to get in game shape for that sport, you have to play that sport, obviously. And there's the next best thing will be energy system training. So energy system training breaks down the duration of the exercise into like seconds. So like from 1 to 10 seconds is like anaerobic lactic energy system. So if like you run 100 meters, you'll be in that system. Like, so you don't really need to train, like run for 3 minutes if you're a sprinter, right? But most sports have like a combination of those different systems. Like it's anaerobic, aerobic. Like if you have like a soccer player or a football player, it's different systems, right? And so what you can have them do is you can have them run, but running for some of the big guys could be like too much running, could hurt their knees, their back, and things like that. Plus they running all the time and they fucking sick of running. You can do biking or swimming, but that doesn't translate that well because as soon as they get off the bike, they have to run. They be tired. So I started doing modified strongman training, which I got from Charles Poliquin, which is one of the best strength and conditioning coaches that I learned from. So what you do is with strongman training, it allows you to move like you would when running, but you don't always run because there's exercises when you walk, you kind of jog. You push a prowler. Obviously, you've seen that with like football players. You can pull a prowler, you can push it, you can pull a sled, you can drag a sled, you can flip a tire, you can carry farmers' handles, you can like zerker carry, you can like yoke carry, big yoke on your back. You can do sandbags walks, you can do med ball throws, you can throw in some jumps in there and some suicides. Like I do suicides with med balls and things like that. So
that's dangerous.
So have you puking after practice, bro?
Yeah, I remember.
So I started using that with like, especially with like rugby, MMA, but all team sports pretty much, and athletes love it. So they can compete. So we usually have like, if you have a couple people doing it at the same time, we write results. So for example, I know they have to push the prowler for 30 seconds and they get a rest and then they push it again for 30 seconds. So we write it out like how far they push it on a board in each set. And we have athletes that can like look at the numbers, they can compete. It changed the game completely because now they're competing against each other. They have the exact numbers. You can go back and look at the numbers later and try and beat those numbers. So you can either go by distance, you can go by reps. I don't know if you can do med ball slams even or something like that. So you can count how many med ball slams you get in like 10 seconds.
That's cool. There was a gym that I used to work out at. Do you know the machine where, I don't know what you would call this, but it's like the wooden bars and it's kind of like a ladder or like a farmer, or what do you call it? Like a fireman's ladder, I guess you could say. You know what I'm talking about, right? At 10X, they had like a chart on the wall for like the people that would do it, and they would see how many, I guess it counts it on the screen, like how many, I guess, steps you take, I guess you could say. And at 10X, that was kind of like a running competition. There was a big whiteboard, and it had the list of like the top 5 people on there. And the first like 2 or 3 of them, every time I'd go in there, they'd be like in different orders. So like these guys were going in there. I don't know if they knew each other or if they were just gym goers, but they were definitely competing for it because every day or every other day that I would go there, the names would be in different orders, and I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, we do this New Year's Eve challenge, pushing a prowler. So you put your body weight on the prowler. And
what is this prowler you're talking about?
It's the thing that you drive. Like you push.
And it has the wheels on it?
No,
it depends.
That's the tank. The wheels is called the tank.
Prowler. Yeah, the prowler's just like a sled, right?
Yeah, a sled with handles.
They have Mad Dankos. You know how like they put the rug on the basketball court? Yeah.
One of these.
Yeah. So we do that, and we do that for 100 meters straight, and it's the worst thing you've ever done in your life. People puke, they be on the floor for like 10, 15 minutes after that.
What's 100 meters in yards? Do you know?
Well, it's almost 100 yards.
Yeah. It's a 100-meter dash. It's like 100 yards, like a football field.
Yeah.
So that's the worst. No, nobody wants to do it, but we do it every New Year's Eve at the end of the year. And we have a big board of everyone that goes trains in my facility has to go through that, or you can't come back. You can't come back the next year. That's the rule.
You got to hit that 100 meters.
You got if you miss it or something, you do it like first day next year.
Oh man,
New Year's resolution is not welcome down there at that gym. You got to hit the prowler at the end of the year.
Yeah. Didn't you guys set up a weightlifting tournament?
Oh yeah,
in Poland, right?
Yeah, you saw that.
I did. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the head coach of the Polish national team resigned from running the team, and then we started this organization that's called Weightlifting World. It's a private weightlifting organization. So we want to spread the knowledge about weightlifting training, how to train, how to program for weightlifting, but we also wanted to run a competition because we didn't like how the national competitions were run in Poland. They were like old school.
What
So
about them?
Yeah, like any particular reason?
like no music, no lights, like it was just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
old people sitting there, like
Like zombies.
yeah, like no atmosphere.
Yeah.
So we paid we did like great lighting. So people like the stage would be light up at different colors, like it was really nice. We did music, so we had a DJ going. Like everyone that stepped up on a podium could play their own song right before the
that's
like
cool.
lift. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So we had a speaker and different like prize money, which for Polish championships you don't get prize money.
Wow.
We had like big checks of
wow.
to give out for the winners and things like that. So we organized that. We had like 80 contestants, which was really good.
That's pretty cool. And you were organizing that?
Yeah. It's three of us. Is the former head coach of the national team. One of my interns that works with me and myself. So three of us actually started this organization.
That's awesome. Do you guys plan on doing that annually?
Yeah, we're gonna do. Actually, we might do it 2 times next year.
Okay.
So we wanted it to grow. It was already international because we had people from the UK and from Denmark.
Okay.
That flew over to compete, but we want to actually go world.
That's
wide.
cool.
So each competition, we want to take it a step up.
Yeah.
So even this one, people said it was the best one they've seen in Poland already
Really?
as a
Yeah.
first one. So we want to take it further.
What
Now-
are the bigger organizations that do this? Like I know that
I know-
dude did the Shaw. Like the Shaw is
the
an
Shaw
event.
Classic,
So that's
I
a
guess.
different thing though, right? That's
Yeah.
particularly for strongman.
Yeah, that's for strongman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many in the world that do this.
Really?
Yeah, because it's an Olympic sport, so usually the countries do it themselves, like the national championships.
Oh, sorry.
So they do national championships in different countries.
Yeah.
So usually there's not many private organizations that do that. So it
Yeah.
might be one of the few or one of the only
That's
ones.
exciting. That could be a
Yeah.
cool opportunity for you guys for
Yeah,
sure. You
that
guys
is
do
really
something
cool.
serious.
Now, was this pocket funded? Did you guys have sponsors, or did you guys receive donations? Like, how did you get the venue and do the prize payouts and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for the prize payouts, we did get a sponsor.
Yeah.
So we got a sponsor for that. The venue was actually the training venue of that coach. It was in his city, his club, weightlifting club. So we did it there. And then obviously people will have to pay to compete.
Yeah.
But we still lost money, but that's fine because for the first one you always lose money.
Yeah.
Like even for the second one, like that's how business works. Like we knew that. Like
Yeah.
and that's why people don't do that because they think about making money like right away. Like you can't think about that because you're never going to start anything.
Yeah.
So maybe the second one we make money or we get more sponsors
Yeah.
or something, right? So we did lose money, but the word got out
Yeah.
to people. Like everyone was talking about it. People loved it. Like. And social media, we got good response on social media. Like different countries saw us and things like that.
That's
and even
crazy.
now, you guys saw it. So
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
that
cool.
could be a real big event one day that you
Yeah.
guys started in
Yeah.
your backyard. That's really cool. You know, I thought it was really fascinating when I learned last time that we did this podcast that when they do those controlled studies, they don't allow the participants to listen to music because of the enhance that music can have on the effects of a study or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, my professor was like telling me a few times because he's my mentor for my PhD. He's like, I'm gonna come to your gym, make sure you don't listen to music when the students are training because you can't do that. I'm like, he told me that a few times. I didn't know that.
That's a mindset thing too. You ever heard of David Goggins talking about how he doesn't listen to music in the gym? Yeah, you got to be a savage, man. But speaking of your PhD, how is that going, by the way?
It's going good. I'm writing a research article now. It's almost done currently, so I have to write this one and then the next one. But this one is like a bigger one. The next one should be shorter. But I want to finish this one up this year, get that up for reviews and start a second one beginning of next year. So hopefully, maybe defend my thesis at the end of the 2025, if not maybe the beginning of the 2026.
And then
So
you're
that's cool.
Dr. Mirek.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually looked up the meaning of your name. Did you ever do that before?
Mm-mm.
You want to know what it is?
Yep.
How do you pronounce your first name?
Mirek or Miroslav?
Miroslav.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked up the meaning of the word Miroslav, and it said, wait, hold on, where did it go? I got Babiarz. So Babiarz is the Polish surname derived from the word baba, which means woman or old woman in Polish, right? The suffix "ars" typically denotes a profession or characteristic. So the interpretation historically is that the name Babiarz could have been used to describe someone who had a lot of dealings with women, perhaps as a trader or someone who spent much time with or around women. And then your first name, Miroslav, I think it translates to "he who celebrates peace." That's where that name comes from.
That's actually true.
You've heard that before?
Yeah, I think I looked it up now. Now you're talking about it.
That's pretty interesting.
That's interesting. I wonder how accurate that stuff is because we used to talk about that all the time. What did you say Tyson was? Like Tyson was something. We talked about this a bunch of times.
I think it was an old English or German name, and it came from a piece of machinery called a Tyson, and they would call people Tysons who tend to get hot-headed or anger quickly because it's a hot piece of metal or machinery.
I think those are pretty accurate because that's how names were pretty much chosen back then, like by profession or like maybe related to your parents or something like that. But
that's interesting. My last name is Kasky, and I think when I looked into it, it had to do with the making of caskets. Like people, you die, you pass away, and you get a casket. I hope that's not my lineage, but
that's funny. So when you were talking about energy systems, are you trying to train to increase the duration of an energy system? Is that how that works?
It depends which one. So you want to get like for anaerobic lactic, you want to try and get like more reps or more work done within that specific period of time, and then kind of increase it from there. So usually when people train endurance or conditioning, they usually go from like the long slow distance and they like shorten it and go faster, then they go shorten it, like they go from longer to shorter. And the proper way of building energy systems and conditioning should be going from shorter to longer, because the meaning, the thought behind that is that when you do like a 5-second sprint, right, in 5 seconds you can go 100% all out and it's going to be the fastest sprint you can do. If you could do like a 30-second sprint, that's going to be much slower than 5 seconds, right? Because you can't keep it up. If you do 2 minute, even slower. 10 minute, even slower, right? So if you do a 5-second sprint, the next time you do like a 6-second, and like a 7, 8, whatever, and you keep extending that. So you're actually teaching your body how to produce the most amount of force and power in the shortest possible time, and now you kind of trying to extend that for as long as possible. But if you go from opposite, you go from like the long distance to the slowest, you spend a lot of time in that slow zone, which you don't want to do that.
Interesting.
Athletics is not slow unless it's like a marathon runner or something like that. So you spend too much time in the slow distance. So you're teaching kind of your body to be slow for long periods of time, and you don't want that in sports. Sports is like a quick acceleration followed by rest period. Certain, like it depends on the sport. It could be a couple seconds or a couple minutes, then again acceleration, speed, whatever, and then rest period, blah blah blah. That's why intervals work so well. But you should go from short sprints or short activities and try and make them longer as you go.
But it depends on the athlete, though, right? Like if you do have a marathon runner, the conditioning is going to be a lot different in terms of their energy system and how you're training it.
Yeah, obviously, yep.
How do you typically train MMA fighters? Because they have like say 3 to 5 minute rounds. Yeah, and they take breaks.
Yeah, I mean they do a lot of conditioning in their training. So as far as like conditioning, we usually don't do too much with them. We do some strongman. Usually the best period for MMA athlete to do conditioning is right after the fight, because usually they don't do that much sparring in their club because they beat up, or they taking like easy month off after the fight. So that's when we do some running, maybe do some strongman training. But once they get back into it, like they get into it, you know what I mean? So they usually don't need too much conditioning. Sometimes they need less, and we tell them like, maybe 14 sessions a week is enough. Maybe you should dial it down to 12 sessions a week. So sometimes they're like do too much. So it seems like they're out of shape. They could be just doing too much and not recovering. There's obviously, it depends on what level you are. If you're a pro, you could be training 10 to 14 times a week. But if you're like an amateur, you could be training 4 to 5 times a week. Then maybe those people would need extra conditioning. Yeah. And we do that.
When you were training Joanna, were you responsible for getting her prepared cardiovascularly?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did that. Obviously, if you're in camp, so camp usually starts 10 to 12 weeks until the fight. we would add like one conditioning session per week. And she liked to run, so we would run. And now we use energy system training, exactly how I explained. So I start with short, maximal sprints and trying to extend that as we go.
And are they incorporated in the workout, or are they their own workout themselves? Like, are you doing the cardio after a workout, or are you just dedicating specific days or times to doing cardio?
I would do it right after strength training. So if you have strength training, we had strength training twice a week. I usually would do it right after the session. So like a separate training session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and was it typically like HIIT style cardio, where you're doing a lot of fast paced movements and you're, working against the clock and you're performing in those quick bursts of energy, or were you doing longer forms of cardio?
Yeah, it depends what energy system you're training. So you have the anaerobic lactic system, which runs from like 0 to 20 seconds, and the most, that system is most effective up to 10 seconds, and from 10 to 20 is kind of you running on the reserve of that system and kind of getting into the next one, which is the glycolytic system. And each of those systems have specific work to rest ratio, which you should follow, because if you don't, then each rep would be worse. So the best way to do is look at the distance that you're running. So let's say if you on a track, that's easy to track, because you can run like 50 meters and see how many seconds it took you to run 50 meters. Then you rest, and usually the rest for the anaerobic lactic system is 1 to 6. So if it took you 5 seconds to run 50 meters, you rest minimum of 30 seconds, but that's usually not enough. So there's two different types of recovery. It's a muscular system recovery and a nervous system recovery. Okay, the nervous system takes much longer. So nervous system usually takes up to 1 to 20 ratio. So usually we start with that, and then we move on to the muscular system recovery. So our goal would be 1 to 6. But we start with 1 to 20. So if you do like a 5-second sprint all out, you should actually rest 100 seconds. So 1 minute and 40. So that's a long time. But if you want to repeat that for 10 to 20 reps, you need to do that. Because if you don't do that, if the rest is too short, you will be getting worse from rep to rep. So it's actually, you're not maximizing that energy system. You're just working a different energy system. You're kind of just getting tired too fast. So you want to, with MMA or any athlete, you want to repeat a certain action, right? Like a punch combination, for example, followed by rest, and then repeat the same, and not the same, but again, a different combination, but at the same speed and power. Yeah. And you want to do that for 3 rounds, for 5 minutes of each round. So to do that, you have to structure your conditioning the same way. So each sprint has to be done the same way. So 100%, if you run 50 meters in 5 seconds, first rep, you should run 50 meters in 5 seconds the next set, not 40 meters, right? The window is small, so that's why you have to rest so much longer for the nervous system to recover, okay, to repeat that. And then you can repeat, then you can repeat, then you can repeat. So each rep is very quality rep, and it's similar to that one that was there before. Yeah. And then even if you rest 1 to 20, and then you see that it starts dropping, then you stop the workout, right? So let's say you want to do 20 reps of 50 meter sprints, or like 20 meter sprints, right? 50 meters for 20 reps, that would be a lot. So 20 meter sprints of 20 reps, but you see that with rep 7, it's already dropped down, even though the rest and the work to rest ratio is really long, like 1 to 20, but you drop down on time on the 7th rep, then you just pretty much finish for that day. You don't want to push it too much. You can try and get more reps next time. Yeah. Okay. But the rest should be very specific. But the longer the work is, the rest ratio drops down, because it's more like a muscular system development then, and not a nervous system development. So if you run for a minute, for example, right, you can't sprint for a minute. It's going to be like a tempo run, for a minute, like a
jog.
Yeah, exactly. So then work to rest ratio could be like 1 to 3. So if it takes you for a minute, you do 300 meters in a minute, whatever, and then you can rest for 3 minutes and then repeat 300 meters. Rest for 3 minutes, repeat 300. Yeah. So the work to rest ratio, it gets smaller as the distance increases, but it gets larger as the distance shortens.
That's crazy. Like, I wonder who figured that out. Like a lot of workout advice and motivation is like mindset, but there's a real science to it. There's a real
it's physiology.
algorithm.
It's physiology.
It's actually crazy. So what are the different energy systems? I know from hanging out with Anthony that there's the creatine system, which I think is the second system, right?
Creatine phosphate, that would be the anaerobic lactic system. So that's without oxygen.
Okay.
That's what they say. So that's why when you see sprinters run 100 meters, they don't breathe. Right?
Really? So they're holding their breath the whole time?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can look at slow motion 100-meter run. Nobody breathes.
They're just emptying the tank.
Yep. Exactly.
Ramping the engine up 100%.
Yeah.
Running.
So the creatine phosphate system is without oxygen. So pretty much the two main ones is the anaerobic and aerobic. So the oxidative system is the longest one. And then let's start from the beginning. So we have the creatine phosphate system, which is the anaerobic lactic system. And then you have the anaerobic lactic system, which is the glycolytic, which is the second one. And then you have the oxidative, which is the aerobic. So you have three main ones: creatine phosphate, glycolysis, and oxidative systems. So the oxidative would be the longest duration.
Endurance.
Endurance. Yeah, so that can go on forever, right? Like there's no limit to it.
Yeah.
But then with the ones before that, the glycolytic usually starts with like 30 seconds, 20 seconds to like 60 seconds, maybe 120 for like some endurance. And then creatine phosphate is like I said, it's 1 to 10 is most effective, but it runs up to 20 seconds. And then from 2 minutes to like it's just endurance.
Yeah, I've heard that humans are the greatest endurance athletes on the planet. We can run forever.
If you trained human.
Yeah. Well, you ever heard of persistence hunting?
No.
So I guess ancient humans, the way that they used to like get some of their bigger kills, like if they'd kill a mammoth or maybe, I don't know, an antelope or something, they would just chase it until the thing had no more energy left. For days, they would just run after this thing and kind of hawk it down. Is there a myth with lactic acid?
What kind of myth?
So when I played football, after a game, we would have to do conditioning like right after the game so that we can break down lactic acid. But then I talked to my friend Anthony, who's a exercise science major. And what's his particular major name? Do you know?
Kinesiology, right?
No, it's not kinesiology. It's
exercise physiology.
Yeah, exercise physiology. He said that's a myth. That's something we can understand better now. And it's not
actually had to do that after football games.
They would make us conditioned to break down the lactic acid because after football games you would be all sore and like tight. Yeah. So they'd make us conditioned so that we can. The theory was so that we can loosen up a bit more and break down the lactic acid. That was the idea.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but you were
have you heard of this theory before?
Yeah, they used to do that. People used to do that.
And what's
it's
the
unnecessary. Idea? And the idea was like that's what they thought, but physiology doesn't work like that. Actually, lactic acid is something that's necessary for recovery and something that naturally occurs, and you don't have to intervene with that actually. And doing more can actually make it worse. Yeah. So you actually just leave it alone and let it be.
Properly rest.
Yeah, properly.
Yeah. There's some myths that were debunked after I was like playing football. Like one thing that I heard after playing football was, after doing gassers or like long sprints to not put your hands on your knees. Yeah. Like to put your
that's been debunked too.
Yeah,
really?
That's not right.
I didn't know that.
There's a study. It's like already like 10 years ago, I think. There's a study that shows so your body naturally wants to lean over, right? And like people just lean over because you breathe better, so you open up your lungs, and then they measured recovery. So it's you recover. The heart rate recovery is so much better when you lean over than with just standing up like that. Wow. The coaches would just think it shows
open your lungs.
Yeah, or like it shows weakness. Like don't don't tell them. Yeah. I mean, don't show them that you're tired or something, right? But it's actually better. It's a natural thing.
Mindset plays a big part, but I think there's a lot of science behind sports performance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's not just how much of a savage you are. I mean, I guess there's a lot of that, but there's also a real science to becoming like peak version of yourself athletically.
You kind of have to go through it. Yeah. But it's even similar to what he was saying before. Like they definitely ran us too much when we played football. Yeah. Like those days, like we lost a game. I was just talking about this earlier today, actually, doing like 40s in a day. Like that's insane. Or not even in a day, I guess you could say. That's like an hour. It's like an hour and a half of practice. Are you familiar with a 40? not
40
like a 40
yards.
time,
40
but
yards, yeah.
40
so,
yards.
yeah, what our coach would make us do after a game, typically if we lost, would be you'd line up on the goal line, similar to a gasser. You'd sprint to the 40, sprint back. That's one.
Right.
And we would have to do that like 40 times after a loss, which is stupid. And me back then, I don't even know if I brought this up to you on the last pod, but I weighed like 240 pounds back then. I played offensive line when I was in school, so I was much bigger than I am now.
Right.
And I wonder, like, looking back on, especially even with what you were just saying, how bad that was because I had bad knees when I played football.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it just had to do with like the wear and tear of playing football. I definitely got a couple bad hits to my legs, but besides that, I definitely think we ran a lot.
Yeah, unnecessary, I think.
Yeah, another thing I think is interesting that I know nothing about within the realm of exercise science and physiology is this idea of fascia. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah.
What is that? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, fascia is like just like a web that like is around your body.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, it's like this slimy web that stretches. People, I think, give it too much credit.
Really?
People would think like it creates some. There was this thing when you so there's tendons and muscles. So muscles, tendons stretch the muscles to produce movements. So there's this thing called stretch shortening cycle. So when you jump, for example, like you load your Achilles tendon that's connected to your calf muscles, that stretches and like springs you back up, right? So people used to say fascia does that as well. Like fascia does that little bit. It stretches when you move, like when you move your body, but it doesn't give you those elastic. Well, it gives you some elasticity and elastic components to help you move, but it doesn't act like tendons and muscles do. So, and then as for some people, there's this big thing about fascial release as well, like releasing fascia and things like that. So that's not my cup of tea as far as knowledge goes. But you have to talk to
Not buying it?
I've never even heard of fascia.
You
I
have
want
to
to see an image.
talk to Dr. G about that. Probably.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that stuff is there's so many different complexities when it comes to the human body and training the human body. So yeah, I don't know. I think like I remember when we were doing physical therapy, she was telling me to, because I guess I had a problem with the way that I'm kind of like hunched in, like a lot of things are starting to go like this. So I guess I was stuck in, like my hands tended to go in this direction.
Right.
And she was telling me to, I think it was like, she used the word fascia, but like train your fascia to start. I don't know. I don't remember what she was saying really, but.
You have to remember one thing, like people that like in the medical professions, like physical therapists, doctors, they will always find something that's wrong, even if you're healthy.
True.
Right?
Yeah. True.
Everyone has something. Like everyone has deficiencies, problems, like tight areas and things like that. I feel perfectly fine. I can move. I can do any exercise. I sleep well. I live well. But if I go to the physical therapist, he's going to tell me, oh, your traps are fucked. Like this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Like, but so what? I mean, like, it doesn't cause me any problems whatsoever. I'm in peak performance. I can do anything I want. I'm in like top of the world as far as training. I mean, I can perform any exercise. I can run. I can sprint. I can jump. You know, I can lift. I'm strong. I'm you know what I mean? I'm healthy.
I think I saw a stat. I don't know if this is an accurate way to put it, but I think it was like, you know, after the age of 30, there's like a 75% chance that a person will never sprint again.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah.
There's some crazy stats about like 40 because I just hit 40. So I'm trying to debunk those stats. But there's this thing obviously called sarcopenia, which is loss of muscle mass as you age. So every year after 40, you lose 1% of muscle mass every year. So like from 40 to 50, if you don't train, that's 10%, and then 20. And so that's sarcopenia. But there's this one thing called dynopenia, and that's loss of strength and power. And that goes faster because every year after 40, you lose 2 to 4% of strength, but 8 to 10% of power.
Yeah.
That's why you see the most powerful and fastest people be like before 30 years old. Like sprinters would be like at peak at like 27 or 28.
Yeah.
After 30, like even like basketball players, they can't jump that high, right? Power goes fast and first, then strength, and then muscle mass. But with training, you can delay that greatly, right? You can like slow it down, really slow it down. But if you don't, like you said, after 30 you don't sprint, and after 40 you don't train. By the time you're 60, you can barely be walking.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to train. You can slow it down. You can't beat father time. Is has no mercy on any of us, right? But you can't beat that. But you can really slow it down. Like I'm a 40 right now. I feel like I'm in peak performance, and I can still go and get even better. So that's my goal.
Do you think, similar to how in other periods of history we were able to advance our medicine and our understanding of how to take care of ourselves, and we began to increase our life expectancy, do you think that there's another evolution that we could have as a species to be able to increase how long we live? Like we break through an understanding in health or science or nutrition or exercise that will be able to extend our life from, what is it in the United States? It's like 75 years old, 79 years old, something like that. To like 100 is the average life expectancy or something like that.
I mean, I think, first of all, I think we have the option right now. And I read somewhere that the first person that's going to live 150 has already been born. So there's definitely medicine that plays a key role. Gene therapy, like testosterone replacement therapies, and that's going to play a big role, and like hormone therapies and things like that. That's going to play a huge role, because once like your testosterone level drops or like your hormones gets disrupted, that everything goes. So once we can fix that, and we can already now, the life expectancy is going to be much greater. But I was at Walmart today with Coach.
What'd you think of Walmart? Do they have those in Poland?
No.
Walmart?
I always go to just to look at people.
I give you some real culture, huh? That's American culture, baby.
And then we were standing in line at Walmart with Dr. Jan, and I was just thinking, like, I was like, damn, America is just weird.
Oh yeah.
Like, you have the option. You have the best and you have the worst. I mean, you can pretty much buy anything you want at Walmart, but you get shit.
Oh yeah.
Like you can get organic bacon, but you don't choose not to because it's like $1 more or something, right? Like you can get good food. You have access to great food, medicine, knowledge with internet, ChatGPT. Like you can be the best version of yourself. But most people don't choose to do that, which is weird, right? They choose to live their life unhealthy and look the way they look, and then by the time they're 60 or 70, when they should be thriving, they like a mess, and like they usually like die early. Like it's like human body is designed to live 130.
You think so?
Yeah.
130.
Really? Yeah, that's been proven. Like,
is that right? But there was no time in history when we lived up until 130.
Because I mean, obviously toxins and different things like environment, sickness, and
plagues.
There's
and
people
shit
that
like
have lived over 120.
Yeah.
And plenty of them.
Really?
Right?
I thought
like,
it was 119. I thought that was the oldest humans ever lived.
There's stories, though, of people like in Asia and India who lived up to, 120, 130 years old and stuff like that.
Yeah. A point to your reference about Walmart, though, that I thought was very interesting, and I heard this on a podcast yesterday. I want to see if I can find it, because I know I wrote it in my notes. There was, an app that has been developed recently, and I believe, I could be pronouncing this wrong, but I think it's a Yuka Nutrition. There's this app that I guess you can get on your phone now, and you could scan the, I don't know if it's the QR code or whatever. I guess just the ingredients that like like say you get a box of cereal.
Oh, I heard about this.
You could scan or even like a
and
thing
it
like
grades
Beverly
it,
or anything
right?
like that. Yeah, and it'll tell you like a more in-depth look at like what everything in the product is actually doing to you or for you. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't know if you've ever heard of that, but I just found out about it yesterday, and I actually kind of want to start putting it to the test. The other thing that's interesting about Walmart too that I wanted to know if you picked up on, you notice the psychology with like the aisles when you go to like, I mean, I'm guessing you weren't going down the candy aisle, but if you do, it'll be like all of the stuff that may be healthier for you or you never heard of on the very top or the very bottom, but the most like fan favorite things that are all terrible for you are all eye level.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why?
Well, it's just psychology of humans.
But you know why those items are there? Like why did the Walmart people did that on purpose? Or
it's probably because of like the average height of children or people who go to Walmart.
Those companies actually pay for their products to be at that level.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So those are the most like most known products. Usually the less known products are be top or bottom. It'll be people have to look. But eye level would be the ones that paid the most money.
It'll be like Doritos or Pepsi. Yeah. It's like all the big brands that like the buzz brands that everybody's heard of. Those are always the ones that are right in the middle of the shelf.
It's a hard thing to try to understand why we do have the option to be as healthy as we possibly could be, but yet people still are choosing to do the wrong thing. And it's obviously, I think it's a comfort zone thing. Yeah. And, you know, you can eat for comfort, but I also think that, you know, especially here in America, as an American, this is something I've observed, that, you know, I think we're kind of being manipulated, man. Like, you know, there's tons of
That's true.
commercials and there's tons of incentives and there's, you know, especially if you grew up in a family that kind of lived that way, like it's kind of what you know and what you believe to be true and what's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I think it's more than just a simple. I mean, maybe it is as simple as a simple decision, but I think it's also a bit more complex than just making a decision, because, you know, it's also the same with medicine here too. Like we're advertising for like Ozempic here in America.
We're one of 2 countries in the world that are able to do that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they might have changed that.
So health isn't like really promoted here a whole lot, like being healthy, and like it's not like in the media or in the news people are confronting people about how they're living or like the lifestyle choices that they're having, you know. It's like
people bring it up, but it's so deeply embedded within the American culture now. Like, what can you even do about it?
And the FDA passes everything. You know, we let shit slide here. Like, there's certain stuff that you can eat here that's you know, the ingredients in like Doritos, I think, is different than it is over in Europe. Like, they don't allow for certain ingredients.
I heard there's like 200 or 300 different ingredients that are in like junk food that are not allowed in Europe.
Yeah. And one of them that's like, it was wild because I just heard about this on another podcast yesterday too. Like cereal, I mean, cereal in general for you is pretty bad. Yeah. But I think they were using Fruit Loops as an example. We use certain dyes in our Fruit Loops here that they don't even allow in Canada, which is right above us. And Canada is pretty loose with what they allow people to consume too. But even like this one, it was like, it might have been Red 40.
Red 40?
That's like the general one, but I don't think that that's what they were referring to. Even that, they won't let them use in Canada, and Canada is pretty similar to us in the sense where they do.
Why is that? Why do you guys think is that? Like, you're the richest country in the world.
It's money.
Do that, right?
It's money.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
People are going to continue to buy it, and it's probably a cheaper way to make it and a very effective way to make it, and people buy it.
Rich people want to be richer.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's embedded in the culture, and I see that too now, because those people that buy those things that I see, a lot of them are with kids.
Yeah.
And they buy food for kids, and I look at the shopping cart, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then you look at
and I feel bad for the kid, because I have kids. I'm like, damn, I would never feed this to my kids. I would do anything to give him the best food I can give him.
Yeah,
right?
I was just telling him about that the other day. I went to the grocery store recently. I get these like big like water jugs that I fill up, and I take them to this one local grocery store by my house because it's like the only place that I know of in this area that you can get them filled. But long story short, I was just telling him this. When I was in there, I don't remember what was going on with me that day, but I was thinking really deeply that day. And when I was in the grocery store, I was there with my mom, and we were just walking around and kind of just chopping it up and talking. And I was observing around me, because I never really did this before, but I was observing the people that were kind of walking around me, and I was kind of looking at their carts and seeing what they were shopping for. And I forget exactly what I had referenced to you, but of like the 5 people that were like right around me in the given time, I couldn't spot one thing in their cart that I would traditionally buy. And I think I shop fairly healthy, but like in their carts, it would have been loaded to the top. And I remember specifically the one girl, mind you, she was on one of those, what do you call them? The motorized shopping carts. And no offense to you. I mean, I get it. It is what it is. But she had like 5 boxes of like the Lego waffles or whatever they are. So you have
Lego
all
My
those.
Egos.
Yeah, she had like 3.
I don't have those in Poland, bro.
Nope. 3 big family bags of like cereal that were like off-brand. So those might even be worse for you than like a fucking Fruity Pebbles. I don't know. But then it was like 3 bags of chips. She had like the cans of soda on the bottom of the cart, and it was like, I'm just thinking like, what the fuck, like. And that's most people. Like, that's a lot of people in America that live life like that. Oh, I used to live like that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't live like that, but I was younger, and obviously I ate shit. But also, like, going to Walmart to look for healthy people is not a smart thing.
It's not. Yeah, it's like gotta
go like Whole Foods or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a different demographic.
But when I was a kid, I don't know if you had something similar to this, like growing up in Poland, but like when we were kids, and we talk about this often too, is like going to like McDonald's was magical when you were a kid. Yeah. And they had like the play pens in there. You can go in there and, play in the ball.
But even if, I don't know if you guys see that, like the ingredients for the French fries in McDonald's 40 years ago and now. Yeah. It was like 3 ingredients 40 years ago. Now it's like 40. right?
Yeah.
Not crazy.
So even the McDonald's here changed. It was worse. And now with the social media, you can see a bunch of videos from the 70s and 80s how people were just healthier.
Yeah.
And now you look at the people and like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Do you ever see the videos where somebody will buy, and I don't know why people do this, but they will buy like a cheeseburger from McDonald's from like the 1970s.
Yeah, and they would just leave it out for
Yeah.
like
And nothing
years.
will eat
Nothing
it.
happens
There's
to
no,
it.
No
doesn't
mold, nothing.
Yeah.
They were like the only thing that dries up on it, I think, was like the ketchup and like the ketchup
Yeah.
and the mustard that they put
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the only thing that'll dry up, but the bun stays the same, the patty stays the same, the cheese, all that stays the same, and it's disgusting. I don't know how do you even do that?
And it's like I saw the caption was like, if mold won't eat this or bacteria, then why should you? Why should you eat
Yeah.
it?
You showed me another one like that, or no, I think I might have just found this on my own. So it was like talking about regular sugar. So it was like the sugar and then sweet and low and then like equal and then the different things that people will put in their coffees. And they put them on like a piece of cardboard and just set it outside. And all the ants went to the sugar. Not a single ant went to the other
ones.
Like, yeah, the other combinations of whatever it was. I don't know if it was like, I believe it was like equal, sweet and low, those types of things. But I'm not necessarily sure. It's crazy though.
Yeah, it's great. I think what it is, I think it's like a degree of consciousness, like how introspective you are about how the things that you're putting in your body make you feel.
Right.
I don't think that they're like, they probably have other shit going on that they're not. They might have just sidetracked what's happening or how they're feeling in their body, where they're just not even, thinking about what they're eating.
Yeah. Before, I mean, you were around when I decided to go on like a weight loss arc. Before that, I really never considered like eating, or not that you never considered eating healthy. Everybody probably considers that, but I never gave it too much like critical thought. Like what was really good for you? I thought like literally, no lie, I was like 14, 15. I thought if you were eating like Tyson chicken, like the frozen freezer chicken.
No, it's protein.
Yeah, I'm like,
get
oh,
my
it's chicken.
in.
It's good. Chicken's good for you. But if it's frozen and it could last, and chicken could do that too, I guess. But whatever they put in it that makes it last and stay healthy for that long, or like, what do? They just kill it with sodium, right? That's kind of how you keep things.
Well, there's other
frozen for a long time.
preservatives that they use too.
Preservatives too.
Are I don't know what they use.
Yeah.
Plus, they use so many antibiotics for the chicken to grow.
Yeah.
So fast, so they kill it in like so many days. Like they also showed it, like back in the day, chicken would grow like. I'm throwing out numbers. I don't know. Like it took like 90 days for the chicken to fully grow, and it was like this big. Now it grows in like 30 days. It's like twice as big, right? Because of the antibiotics and things they inject into the chicken so they can kill it off faster, right? So
in Europe, I don't know. What do you think about this? In Poland, you guys don't particularly shop in bulk, do you?
No, not really. I mean, I think the Western culture is moving to the East, unfortunately, more and more.
Okay.
So there's some people that do that already. I don't know when it's going to be, hopefully it's not going to get as bad as here. No offense. But
we understand.
But there's people that more and more. When I was little, like nobody would shop in bulk. Now it's like in big cities, like in Warsaw, people would do that. But not as much as here in Europe.
Yeah, when I went to Europe, like my friend told me that's one of the first things that he picked up was how big everything was here, like how big our refrigerators are and how big our grocery stores are.
The portion sizes at restaurants are fucking ridiculous. I can never get over it.
Portion size at restaurants, really?
Yeah. Like we get appetizer. Like I would get appetizer and I would be done eating. Like I'd be like, I went Dr. Yan. I'm like, I can't eat anymore. This is like I'm done.
Yeah.
Do you ever cheat? Do you ever have cheat meals?
Rarely. I usually reserve cheat meals to have something sweet with my coffee. Like I wouldn't have like the whole pizza. Like I would have. I actually was talking to somebody, one of my coaches at my gym. I told him like I don't remember the last time I ate a whole pizza. Like I would have a slice sometimes, and that would be a cheat.
I could kill a pizza.
And
I would kill a pizza too.
Yeah.
It's good.
My cheat would be like a burger with fries, and I would probably get that every few months. Yeah, with cheese. Yeah.
And after you eat it, do you feel like kind of gross? Do you feel kind of like
no, because I don't do it often, and I usually do it after like I have like a weekend of teaching when I'm on my feet and teaching and really exhausted, and I kind of feel like I need that food after that. But it's not McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like, I get like a gourmet burger.
Okay.
Right. From like that real meat, like real bun, like not fake bun, like like a bun that was made today, and it's gonna go bad tomorrow if you eat it, right? So I'll have that and like real fries with like regular potatoes and things like that, and I feel okay after that. And but I know I did it. And I'm conscious about that, and I know I'm not going to do it for a long time.
Yeah, Kevin was telling me, what were you saying? You were shopping at Sam's Club. And have you been to a Sam's Club before?
Yeah. When I used to live here, I would go with my dad,
Yeah, so Sam's Club is like a buy-in bulk kind of store, right? And you were saying that the chicken there was huge, and they pumped it up with like a bunch of water to make it.
I mean, I don't necessarily know what they pump it with. I know you were saying like antibiotics, right?
Yeah, to make it grow, but then they pump it with water too.
Okay.
Yeah, to make it bigger so it can weigh more.
Yeah.
So
you buy it for more money.
Yeah. And that's what I was telling him is like one thing I noticed about my chicken is like when I will, because sometimes I'll butterfly
disappear on a
chicken
pan.
breast. Well, no, not well. Yes, that too, definitely. I think most of my meat does do that, but the chicken specifically, like, because I like to cook on higher heat. My chicken, whatever, I just like to get it done quicker. But one thing I notice is like if I'll butterfly my chicken or I'll dice it up, I'll do whatever. I noticed that in the pan, there's always like, I mean, I don't know what it would be like in distance, but there's like that much water that just like is the chicken's like floating in water. And it's like, where the hell is all that water coming from?
From the chicken.
That's insane.
What kind of pan do you use?
I do use a nonstick pan. I don't have a cast iron. I gotta get one.
You gotta buy some cast irons, bro.
You gotta get rid of everything that's black in your kitchen.
Black?
Yeah. Like,
what about black cast iron?
That's fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do need a cast iron.
So usually those black utensils, they like plastic black utensils. Those are really bad.
Really? Yeah. So like you mean
black nonstick pans, really bad.
But what do you know why that is? I've heard that a bunch of times, and like I said, believe me, I wanted to. Not that I wanted to. I do want to get cast iron pans. But what actually is it that they do to the pans that makes it so bad for you? Like what do they put on it?
Well, it's the chemicals that make it non-sticky.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they do, but
can you find out what that is?
Like, as soon as you heat it up, it releases into the food.
Yeah.
Which you don't want that. So you don't want anything plastic, but you don't want non-stick coating too. So the best pans would be cast iron or stainless steel. Yeah. Which is not that expensive. Yeah. But, so
me and Brian just went on a kick because a lot of our meal prep containers were all plastic. Yeah. And so then we were like, we learned about microplastics and how when you heat those things up and you put warm foods in it, you could be eating microplastics. Yep. So we went, and that's a big thing. Like that's a whole
microwave and in plastic. Which is
What do you think about the microwave? Crazy. Is the microwave okay, or you think that's dangerous?
It's definitely not healthy. Yeah. I don't use it. I don't have a microwave in my house.
Really?
Yeah, I don't use microwaves.
How do you heat up? You put it in the stove?
I have like an electric stove.
Oh, really?
For like to quickly heat up something. Mm-hmm. It's not as quick as microwave. It's not 30 seconds. It'd be like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're about speed here too. Yeah. We want things to happen quick.
Exactly. I'd rather eat it cold and know it's healthy than heat it up in the microwave.
Yeah. See, you talk about a degree of consciousness. Like I'd like to think I'm a healthy guy, but there's some stuff that I'm doing, downstairs that's probably like I heard something. I wish Kevin was here when I'm saying this, but I heard somebody said that the amount of microplastics that we eat is so high that it's causing our testosterone to get lower, and it's causing a man's taint to shrink. Did you ever hear that before?
Yeah, I mean, the testosterone does get lower. It's proven every year since 1950, 1%.
But
in men,
is it particularly because they're getting older?
Toxins and microplastics. And estrogen that's in the food and things like that. So we actually ingest, and I don't want to get this wrong. It's either every day or every week. I think I'm
credit
card. I'm pretty sure it's every day a credit card worth of plastic, microplastics.
Kev, we were talking about the taint shrinkage that's happening. Yeah. Do you think that's primarily an American thing, or is that something that's happening worldwide?
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide. But going back to microplastics, I think they actually found microplastics in like fish that lives like 10 kilometers down on the bottom of the ocean. Like,
really?
It's crazy.
Really?
Like, and they found it inside of his stomach.
But that's
so
that'd
be
everywhere.
It's everywhere now. So
garbage spills and stuff in the ocean. Yeah. And there is, I believe, a place in I've seen. I don't know where it is. I want to say it's China. I would ask you to look it up, Brian, but I have your phone because I have the answer to that non-stick pan thing. But I do believe there's an area, and I think it's in China, where they made like a man-made island. And architecturally, I guess it makes sense as to how this would work. But like you dig a bigger ditch into an island so you could fill it up with garbage, and then they kind of just have like an island landfill for it. But I do believe things like that are responsible for just washing into the ocean at some point, and then Like that's the thing with like the turtles. That's why everybody's like, no plastic straws or whatever, because the turtles and stuff, they get caught in those like soda can holders and like all that. I don't know how it ends up in the ocean, but it does.
Plastic is crazy. That's why I want going back to Walmart, like people buying like these 36
those
bottle of waters.
Yeah.
You gotta lock in, bro.
I got rid of that like a few years ago. Like I don't buy any plastic water.
It's also better for the environment too.
What?
Not
Oh,
using
yeah, not
plastic
having
water
plastic.
bottles and stuff like that.
It's not
You know,
biodegradable.
A bad habit that I have, dude. I have these. I probably got one.
Plus,
right
it's
now.
bad for the environment. Plus, the water sits in plastic.
Yeah.
And you touch it with your lips
Yeah.
all the time. So
Yeah.
it's not good.
So how do you get? Do you have a well, or
No,
do you do
I have a like under sink water
filtration system?
Yeah, so reverse osmosis.
Oh, that's sick. I
Oh.
was gonna say, do you ever
That's
see a
better.
picture of what a Manhattan pipe looks like under
No.
New York?
Uh-uh.
Oh my goodness.
You have seen them or no?
No, I haven't
Oh,
seen
it's insane. I'll
Yeah.
just see if I can find a
I'll
picture.
pull up a picture. Right
Yeah,
now.
go for it, because I'm super multitasking. Just to finish that last thought that we had, though, so I guess Brian looked into the non-stick pan thing,
Mhm.
particularly those made with perfluoro. I'm not even gonna try that. word.
PFA, I guess.
PFOA
PFOA, yeah.
and
Here are the-
PTFE.
Sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's what they look like.
Piece.
So that's New York. That's downtown New York City. You know, you want to run
And
your
people
faucet.
drink that, yeah.
Woo! But I mean,
We
they
gotta
do
lock
say,
in, bro.
They do say New York makes the best bagels. A lot of people attribute it to that and pizza. That's like kind of where that idea comes from. That's a real thing. People think that the people say the water in New York is different. That's why like bagels and pizza and stuff like that from New York are generally better. And I think that that's what people believe. is the reason for it.
What does water have to do with bagels, bro?
I look it up. I don't know. I'm not a
Who
bagel
says
expert.
that? Where are you getting this
We'll
info?
see. Why are bagels?
Anyway,
They
this
probably
is
put
crazy.
water in flour or something and mix it.
Yeah, I don't know. New Yorkers are crazy though. What's the life expectancy like in New York with all the taxis and if you're
Can't
a
be high.
lifelong New Yorker? You know what, man? We should. I would love to live to 100 years old. I think
Yeah.
that'd be sick.
I'm going to do that.
Over 100, you're gonna do that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that too. But I gotta lock in. I gotta get away from the non-stick pans. I
Yeah.
gotta.
Slowly. I was worse at your age.
You think so?
at that time, yeah.
Well, so
Oh.
you lived in America at the time.
Yeah,
Were you
yeah.
eating fast food and stuff?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that much, but I would, eat.
So here you go,
Food,
kid.
yeah.
New York bagels are often perceived as superior due to a combination of cultural, environmental, and technical factors. Number one being water quality. One of the most commonly cited reasons is New York's tap water, which is soft and contains low concentration. That is bogus. There is no way that's true.
There you go.
Which
False
is
information.
soft and contains lower concentrations of calcium and magnesium compared to harder water found in other places. I would assume New York water is as hard as it gets. That's crazy.
You know what's
It has to
interesting
be.
though? I will say, like, for a person who gets on the wave of like wanting to, do healthier things and have healthier habits, like install a reverse osmosis water filtration system, or practice red light, or to do various, recovery things and eat in a very specific way, like that could be perceived as other people like, yo, dude, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like,
It's a funny thing that
Yeah.
people look at it that way, right?
yeah. But it's true. It's definitely a real thing. Like for those people, we perceive them as like they're doing too much. They're
Yeah.
extra. They're kind of going a bit over the edge when
Yeah.
it comes to being healthy.
It's a
Yeah.
spectrum, though, right? Like, I mean, in my opinion with that is I think you could be overly healthy, but you can be overly unhealthy, too. I think it goes both ways. And it's even similar to that guy, and I always forget his name when we talk about him, but the fella that is he's trying to live for, like, the longest anybody's ever lived for,
Yeah.
even tying into what you guys are talking about like, the age
Right.
lengths. He's kind of coaching his life in a certain way in which, like, he doesn't drive a car. He only is awake, like, what, 5 hours a day or some shit like that?
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about this. I think the last pod, Brian.
That's going overboard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
side
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the
So that's my point. Like,
spectrum, right?
you could be insane about your fitness. Like,
Yeah.
you could take that to a whole nother level,
Yeah.
absolutely. But the same thing is true the other way. Like, some people
Yeah.
don't care enough about it at all, to the
Yeah.
fact where people don't cook. I mean, you can go down the street. McDonald's is a 3-minute drive from my house. If I wanted to, I can go get
Yeah.
a $2 cheeseburger for dinner every night, save a little bit of
Right.
money, and I could eat like that.
Yeah, but I mean, for most people, like the way I live my life is crazy already.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't drink or something, and I'll be if I'm in a group with a group of people, and then like, you don't drink, I'm like, hell, like never. I'm like, no, never.
You never
Like,
have either?
No, I would drink. I don't know. I would have a beer like once a year, maybe,
Yeah.
or something, or
That's-
once every 6 months.
So have you never been, like, drunk?
No, I have.
Okay.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, my life changed drastically. Well,
Yeah.
not drastically. Like, I wasn't crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was a regular teenager, whatever, right? And going to college and drinking and things
Yeah.
like that. But, like, that's why the way I changed everything was just like a step-by-step process. Like I didn't just change everything in one day. Like I introduced this month, and then next month I do this.
Yeah.
And then change the different soap or whatever. Now different water, and then different pans I'm cooking in, like different fats I'm eating. Like, and it's an ongoing process that keeps going on. I think it's gonna go on. Like forever till I die.
New information pops up all the time. I mean, I imagine, I can't even, well, I should say, I can't even imagine what we're going to discover 20, 30, 40 years down the line of like things that we are doing today that we're finding out are terrible for you. Like, I wonder what, like, say, phone usage, an example, is going to look like 40 years down the line, where people saying, I actually heard this on a podcast yesterday too, that there's studies that believe that humans are going through a phase of, what would you call it? De-evolution. Is that just how you would say that word? De-evolution? Basically, what I'm trying to say is people, I guess, there's studies that are showing that we are currently losing our peripheral vision as humans because of how much time a day is spent being focused on a phone, two eyes looking very closely at one thing. So
well, think about what peripheral vision is. It's like, it's primarily, it was probably used for being able to detect a potential threat from, you know, from this direction. So we're not perceiving threats anymore. If threat isn't as apparent, then there's probably no use for it. I mean, I don't know.
That's why sports are important, because you need that.
Very true.
Same thing with the microplastics too, though, because with the studies that I've heard about, like microplastics from water bottles, at least to my knowledge, it doesn't seem like any of that will affect us currently, but what it will do is it'll affect later generations in what do you actually bring up the taint shrinkage thing? People believe at some point, like to be vulgar, your genitals are going to probably touch at some point, which is crazy. It just keeps getting smaller and smaller, but over generations, though. So
I did read something that goes to fourth generation. So whatever you do now, whatever it goes down to fourth generation.
Is that how evolution works in terms of? Wow, that's insane. I always wondered how that worked. Like, how long does it take for evolution to actually take place? You know, like based off of environment, based off of all that other stuff. Do you monitor like your hormone levels and your vitamin levels and stuff like that?
I do it like every year.
Yeah.
So I feel good enough not to do it like every month. But I do it every year. Yeah.
And what do you typically find? Like, where are your levels at? What are you maybe deficient in, or what do you usually try to supplement and do?
Yeah, last time I did it was pretty decent on everything. Obviously, testosterone could always be higher, right? As a guy, like it was within the level, but it wasn't like you know.
So what were your levels at? I'm just learning about this recently from this guy Frank that I do jiu-jitsu with. He's 50 years old, and he has like I don't know what specific unit of measurement that they use, but he was like 600 out of something in terms of his testosterone.
We have different ones in Poland. I don't remember last time what it was. I was like, I don't know, going from like, let's say 10 would be the highest and 1 would be the lowest. I was like 4 or something. I mean, so I was like kind of in the middle, maybe on a lower part, or somewhere like in the middle, right? Which is decent because I feel good. Usually, I mean, vitamin D, you also want to check that because that's usually lower, especially in the winter. Magnesium, you want to check that to check. So there's different things you look for. You can do an omega-3 profile, which would be huge in America for healthy reasons.
And that's a test where your omega-3 levels are?
Yeah. So it's called omega-3 profile. So you have to request that to do that. So I think everyone here will be out of whack.
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, even people like us, for example, like I would say we are probably above the average in terms of like how much we prioritize our fitness and health. But like getting a blood panel or something like that is something I've never done. Yeah. I'd imagine like what does that look like for the average American citizen that like really doesn't care about their health?
Yeah. I bet you it's bad, bro.
I'm also like, I have that weird kind of mentality that like I'm young, so I should be all right. At least I think I'm probably in the best shape and best like mental state that I've probably ever been in my life right now. I feel the best, similar to like what you were saying, where I feel right now greater than I ever been. So I mean, things might be wrong, but I don't try to prioritize it that way because I feel great now. Yeah. So I try to kind of not, I guess, jade my mindset when it comes to this. I don't want to worry myself because I'm a big overthinker. So if I'm like, ooh, my gut's been bothering me, and then I'll start thinking about it too much.
Just buy a new pen.
Buy a new pen.
Yeah, I do. I need to get one.
We should buy some cast iron.
We should go. Let's do it. Let's go to fucking go haul some cast irons. You guys do have a skillet, don't you?
Yeah, it's Brian's.
You don't use it though.
I use it. Nah, I do.
What oil you cook it in?
Olive oil.
You use olive oil.
Yeah.
He's a canola oil guy. He does the canola oil.
He's lying to you right now. I use, and actually I wanted to know what you think about this too, because I've heard varying beliefs on this idea too, but I use olive oil for most things, but I also do use butter. I like butter for steak. I make all my steaks with just regular butter.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Margarine you use, right?
I don't.
You can't believe it's not butter.
Does that even exist in Poland?
Yeah.
Can't believe it's not butter. What the hell is that? What is it?
That's what it is. It's like canola oil.
It's crazy how that worked.
They found a way to refine. I believe it's. Can you look into that too, Brian? Sorry, I know we're putting you to work
canola,
today.
But sunflower, canola, one of the combination of both.
One of them, I don't know if it's canola oil or exactly what I'm referring to, but I know one of them was like a altered, like motor oil that was used for like cars. And we found a way to.
What canola oil was.
That's what it was, right?
Now, yeah.
That's
and they
insane.
just start giving it to people.
Now you can eat it in America. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can eat it.
The motor oil back in the day was canola oil.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. Think about that.
Yeah,
You're fucking lubing your car. You're lubing your Ford.
Now you're lubing your body.
Yeah. Now you're lubing your body.
We are machines.
What you got, kiddo? Here, you can throw it to me if you
look
want.
at it that way.
We didn't get you a mic. Fucking, I gotta remember to do that. I can't believe it's not butter. It is primarily made of a blend of plant-based oils, which, I mean, there you go, and water. The key ingredients typically include vegetable oil, water, salt, natural flavorings, lecithin. What's that? Preservatives, vitamin A, vitamin D. I feel like they're taking a step back, though. Like, they could be a bit more
transparent.
Yeah.
Well, it's a blend of vegetable oils, so it's not that's sunflower. Safflower.
The thing about that is like when you hear vegetable oil, it sounds like it should be healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Vegetables.
Because they're vegetables. It's like, what do? You compress a bunch of vegetables and you extract the oil from them?
That's the thing. The process of that is not that simple. So
really?
It's a chemical process because usually vegetables don't have fat in them that can be easily extracted.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to process it chemically to get the fat out of and plus the fat you get is the unhealthy blend of the omega 6s to omega 3s. So it's really not a good type of fat anyway. Plus it's chemically extracted, which is double negative now.
Not good.
Yeah. So for cooking, you could use olive oil. You can use butter, but you can't use both of them in high heat.
What do you mean?
At the same time?
Or either one. You can't cook in high heat in olive oil, and you can't cook in high heat in butter.
Really? Why?
Because it's going to burn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's going to release chemicals that are dangerous to you. So
really,
if you want to use high heat for something, clarified butter would be better. Or things like tallow.
Yeah, I was going to say beef tallow is one I hear about a lot.
So how are you supposed to cook it? I mean, if you're not using high heat, what do you use? Cold heat?
No, not like high heat. Like you want to cook a steak, you need higher heat. But if you're making like an omelet, you don't want to you're not burning an omelet. It's like a lower heat. You know what I mean? Like you making scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
It's not like the highest heat.
I got you.
It's like a lower heat.
Moderate temperature.
So for like breakfast, when I make scrambled eggs, I use butter. Right? So that's fine. But if I cook something like a steak or beef or something, I use usually clarified butter or tallow.
Now, what is clarified butter?
It's extracted from butter. So when you cook, so what they do is they heat up butter at like really low heat for a long time, and then the clarified butter part separates from it, and that's the fat that can be used for like high heat.
Yeah,
but you have to cook it for a long time, and it's extracted that way. So all the animal fats, the healthy fats, are extracted really easily, or they just happen naturally, like tallow, right? It's in the animal itself. Like you just take it out and you cook it.
Yeah.
But all the vegetable fat is chemically extracted, and it's not a good fat anyway because it's mostly omega 6s. But you need more omega 3s, especially in this era where everyone eats omega 6s everywhere.
Now, what are 'cause this is me, I don't really know this at all, but what is the responsibility of an omega 3 and an omega 6? What are they actually responsible for doing in the human body?
Well, usually you got to look at the brain, first of all. So brain is mostly saturated fat, which is found in animals. So it's mostly omega 3s. But even if, like they say, canola oil is omega 3 technically.
Yeah.
So you have different types of omega 3s. You have the EPA, DHA, and that's found in animals, animal fats. And then you have the ALA, and that's found in canola oil, and that's omega 3. But then the body can't process that fat. It has to turn it into DHA or EPA. But the process of turning LIA to DHA EPA is a long and difficult process. So body doesn't want to do that really, and it doesn't convert that very well. So it's technically omega-3, but your body can't use that omega-3.
Yeah.
So it's better just to get it from animal fats. So fats are just first of all responsible for hormone production.
Yeah.
So like cholesterol and fats are what makes your testosterone. So if that's messed up, then your testosterone level is going to drop. And if your testosterone level is going to drop, then everything else happens that's bad for human.
Yeah.
Right? So fats are along with protein. Actually, protein, I say, is the most important because protein can turn into fat and protein can turn into carbs. And that's one of the, if you take protein, fat, and carbs, only protein have the power to turn into the other two.
I didn't know that.
Carbs can turn into fat, but they can't turn into protein, right?
Wow.
So you can live just off protein because it can turn into those other two, right? You
Really?
can't live just off of carbs because you need protein. Yeah.
So theoretically, carnivore diet's probably the best diet then for you.
In theory, yeah.
Wow.
The process of turning protein into glucose, it's a long process, and it's going to be like the last step in like the digestion process, but it can happen, and people do live off just carnivore, right? Of just meat. But people are just eat vegetarian diet. They become deficient in micronutrients and micronutrients that protein has, like B12, carnosine, carnitine, creatine, and things like that. So you need that, and you would need to supplement that if you don't have that.
It would have to be like fatty meat, though, right? Like, you ever heard of the what was it? The rabbit starvation?
Oh yeah. So
idea.
like lean meats, like turkey and rabbit. Like if you only, I believe I heard this with turkey, and I know he said he heard this with rabbit. So we might be mixing up which one it actually is, or both. But I heard once upon a time that if you only ate turkey every day for the rest of your life, you would die of starvation.
Yeah,
And
probably.
That's
not
maybe,
enough
I don't
fat
know.
in it.
Yeah.
That was the idea, at least. But what do you think about going back to debunking myths? The problem with cholesterol in eggs.
Thank God. I was just going to ask that too. I'm happy you brought
There's
that
a
up.
study when people ate 5 eggs a day and the cholesterol dropped. So the cholesterol in the eggs actually doesn't raise cholesterol in the body. It actually lowers the cholesterol in the body.
So
I love eggs,
which
man. I
one's
eat eggs
worse?
every day.
Is it worse to have more cholesterol, or is it worse to have less cholesterol?
Higher
Actually,
cholesterol.
Actually, cholesterol is not a good predictor for any disease anyway.
Really?
It's just a correlation that they made with people that die of heart disease, that they have like high cholesterol. But healthy people with high cholesterol actually make good testosterone, and they're pretty healthy. Like I have high cholesterol, but it's only that they can't prove that the cholesterol is bad. It's only a relation to the heart disease people, or like the people that died of different things, that they actually had high cholesterol. But if you eat normally, you eat a lot of animal fats and a lot of meat, you will going to have technically a high cholesterol.
So what's the difference between, like, what is it, HCl and LCL cholesterol? Is that the two differences?
Yeah. The one actually, there's two different things that it does. There's a good book, you can write that down. It's called Body by Science, and it actually explains all those things you guys want to know. It's an awesome book. It's about cholesterol. It's about training. It's about how those two different type of cholesterols, what they do and what they do in the body, because they transport things and get rid of different things in the body. So can't tell you exactly what they do. It's not like my thing, but cholesterol is definitely not an evil monster that people perceived it to be.
Well, good.
And eggs and cholesterol are actually really healthy. And plus, you can't separate just one thing. Like you take a cholesterol from an egg and say, oh, cholesterol is bad, and I'm not going to eat eggs now. Because eggs as a whole have so many different things. Like eggs are life, right? And then to develop life, you need all these things. If it was bad, like chicken would not be born, right? In a bad environment. It's there for a reason, right? To serve a purpose. So everything that's in there, it's healthy. It's the same thing with like, I don't know if you guys ever heard about fructose. Right? Fructose by itself, it's bad. Like if you eat, like there's fructose, you can take post workout, like as a like you take protein, right? Yeah, you take fructose, right? But fructose taken like that by itself, it raises blood sugar. It's bad for you overall. But there's fructose in fruits, so there was a notion about not eating fruits because they contain fructose. But somehow, the fructose in fruits doesn't act in the body the same as fructose by itself. Somehow it's converted and ingested and digested differently than the fructose by itself. So it's the same thing with cholesterol and eggs, and the same thing at different things. So you can't just separate things and take this out of context and say this is bad. Yeah. Because as a whole, it just acts differently. Because even I was guilty of that. Like I was scared to eat fruits. Yeah. Right. Because I wanted to drop body fat. I'm like, I'm not going to eat because it's fructose, whatever. I'm like, so I figured, all right, let's eliminate all the other carbs that are bad. So bread, potato, rice, pasta. I don't need that. Candy. Right, and just keep fruits in there. Keep fruits and vegetables, because that was always available in the world for humans to eat. So now I like, whenever I feel to eat a fruit, I eat a fruit. Like I was scared to eat bananas for a long time. Like I don't eat 10 bananas a day, but I eat a banana a day. That's fine. I feel good. I know, all right, this is good fructose. It's a banana. Like, it's healthy. I'm eating it, right? But I try to eliminate all the other carbs. I don't really need that extra fuel. If I don't use that fuel, I don't need it really.
Yeah. The effed up part about that, though, is that's another thing we modify here in America that I've been finding out about more recently too, is like even fruits that I guess we create now are all genetically modified to be like sweeter and to be bigger. Bigger. Yeah. We were talking about that in the sense of bananas.
Or no seeds, right? Yeah. Watermelon with no seeds. Yeah. Like, how do you do that?
I have no idea.
Or no, the craziest
baby carrots.
Yeah. I saw cotton candy flavored grapes.
I saw those at Sam's Club the other day.
That's a real thing that we make here. And I'm like, I'm so naive at the time. I was like, yo, how the hell does that happen?
I saw a video. There was this, it was trending on Instagram. People would buy blueberries and they would like record a video and they would like try and squish it. And it was just like, they wouldn't be able to. Like they would like cut it apart and it was not a fruit. It was almost like a gummy bear.
It's crazy. I've seen those videos
I gotta check mine.
Yeah. I've seen those videos too, where when they went to go like bend a banana or rip off a piece of watermelon, and it was almost, it had like the consistency of like something rubber, like that. Brian, what was that thing that you were just talking to Anthony about with the bananas and how they could help to affect recovery?
If you want, you can come jump on my mic. If it's like a long spiel. Oh shit.
He was saying that eating a banana after a workout has a significant impact on recovery.
Which one? Is it the one from Anthony? Okay.
It could be the potassium.
He said, and the banana thing wasn't necessarily about bananas, but about carbs immediately after the workout to shuttle protein into the muscle. You could definitely benefit from a protein shake and a banana immediately after, or a smoothie with protein and fruits. The statement was something like carbs immediately after for 30% more muscle protein synthesis.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, every time you deplete glycogen, you want to replace it. So, but people are eating carbs without depleting the glycogen. So glycogen is sugar. So if you do an activity, obviously you're gonna deplete some of the glycogen, but you can store up to like 1,000 grams of glycogen in your body. So that's like, I don't know how many grams of glycogen is in the banana. Look it up. That's like 50 bananas. Right?
Now, does it matter
to burn that off? You need a long workout. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
So people like train for a little bit and then just like stuff their face with carbs. Yeah, that's too much. You know what I mean, too much they didn't lose that much to replenish that much. You know
that was a football thing that we used to do. You remember those? We would do like that big team spaghetti dinner thing.
We used to do that before games. That's what we used to do. We used to eat like pasta before football games.
So how much sugar in a banana?
I looked up
carbs.
Carbs?
Yeah.
Carbs is about 27 grams.
Yeah, so that's like
in one banana?
50 bananas, right?
Holy cannoli.
1,000?
Yeah.
So typically with one of your workouts, how much glycogen is one of your athletes burning in a Mirek workout?
Yeah, we don't know really how much, but obviously the longer the workout, the more strenuous, you can deserve more carbs after workout, and this is the best part of training hard. Actually, you can take in carbs after, because you like the most sensitive to eat those carbs. So this is the best time to eat carbs would be straight after workout. So if you don't pick any part of the day that you can eat carbs, it would be after training.
That's
And
interesting.
would that be like any particular types of carbs? Like, would you recommend bread after a workout, or would it be carbs that are packaged in fruit or a banana, something like
I would
that?
say a faster digesting carb, like bread is a starch, so it digests slower. So fruit would be a good option, obviously, or like a supplement that's like fast digesting carbs, like maltodextrin or things like that. So, but fruits are good after training. Any type of fruit, really. Like some people say stay away from fructose. So I like stay away from fructose after training. But like berries, any type of berries are a really good choice.
So when people say, like, this could be a dumb question, but what is high fructose corn syrup that like we put in like soda? What is that?
High fructose corn syrup is actually from corn, right? Is it
Yeah, I believe so.
extracted from corn, but the way it's extracted, like chemically, really, it produces high sugar content and high glycemic index, so it raises your sugar rapidly after you eat it. Plus, it's really just unhealthy because it's, again, chemically processed from corn.
Yeah. And if it's derived from corn, that means there has to be some element of sugar in corn, right? Because that I didn't know either. Well, I mean, I guess there's sweet corn.
Well, they make like anything out of corn. There's like corn and like batteries now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
People use corn for everything.
That's crazy.
The spike, or the reason that I guess we started growing a lot more corn, is a pretty interesting story too, and it all had to do with I believe World War I. It was a very cheap and efficient thing that we were able to grow, and I believe it was the first thing that we ever like monocrop agriculture, I guess you could say. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but that was one of the first things that we ever did that type of agriculture with, was corn. I believe just big fields of just corn, and it was used to help feed I guess soldiers, because it was very cheap and cost efficient. So that's kind of how that started. But corn's not really good for you though, right?
Corn is not a great option.
Digests weird, right?
Yeah. So anything out of corn would be even worse. Corn itself, I mean, if you eat it once in a while, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But don't buy it at Walmart.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if you could buy
it
anything
like
at
a
Walmart.
farm somewhere.
That's a
That'd be
good
healthy
point.
for you. Is there? What do you think? Like, can you buy anything in Walmart that's healthy for you?
There's probably some organic options there. Yeah.
You could buy metalled bottled water.
Metal bottled water.
Yeah. Which I wonder, I mean, like, is there any study on what that does to you? Like, is there anything that you can get, like minerals from, I guess you could say aluminum that we make bottles out of, that are similar to microplastics that can affect you later?
Well, aluminum is really bad.
Really?
you don't want to do aluminum. Stainless steel is fine.
Yeah.
But aluminum is nope.
Why is aluminum bad for you?
Look it up.
Metal? Yeah, like mercury.
What's the problem with
all that
Brian?
shit.
Come on, you're a member today, my friend.
Yeah.
Back
It's-
to
it's-
science.
I mean, it's
class.
definitely heavy metals
Yeah.
that accumulate in your body. So
Turn into Iron Man, bro. Talk about microplastics. Imagine
I
you
know.
just swallowing metals, bro.
That's the thing, though, too. Like in a world where there's things out there that are so obviously bad for you, there's so many things out there that are very low key bad for you too. Like,
Well, we gotta
aluminum,
go-
I had no idea.
We got to go the Mirek method. We got to get a nice piece of land and get some chickens, bro.
Move to Poland. Let's do it.
Yeah. And then source all of our food organically. Grow all of our food. Get like one of those, what do they call them? Those little gardens. You know, you can have like self-sustaining gardens.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That'd be sick.
sure.
I guess what this said was aluminum is not ideal for storing food and water for several reasons, particularly related to its reactivity and potential health concerns. Reactivity with acidic or alkaline foods. Aluminum is a reactive metal, especially when in contact with acidic or alkaline foods or beverages. Foods like tomatoes, citrus fruits, or vinegar can cause aluminum to leach into the food, potentially affecting its flavor and introducing unwanted aluminum compounds into the body. That's very interesting. So like when you, like non-perishable food that you go buy from the grocery store, like let's say a can of fucking peas. Like what are those cans traditionally made out of? Is it aluminum? Tin. Okay, that's a good. Now is tin bad for you?
Bro, it's crazy. You
What
gotta
the hell
like.
is not bad
I
for
know.
you?
Just don't buy anything can. Why would you buy a can of anything?
Well, do you buy a bag?
Yeah.
Bag of what?
Chicken. No, right?
What
no.
do you buy something in traditionally? So if it's all right,
A
so
package.
just so I can get to the bottom of this, if it's not plastic, it's not. Well, I'm now learning it's not metal. What is it? People don't sell shit in glass.
Mirek, the next time we do a podcast, Kevin and I got to be absolutely diced to number one.
That's the problem.
Locked in.
We're
and
Americanized,
healthy as
bro.
ever, bro. We got to become less westernized. We got to take a trip over to Europe again. Learn the ways.
Yeah, gastrointestinal issues can be gotten from high levels of tin exposure. I mean, come on. Like, what else? Again, what
We're all
out
going to
there?
die one day, bro.
That is true.
I mean,
No, don't go that way.
no, not a good thought.
No.
Yeah, but how do we live to 100 though? You got to think about that. Like, how do we live to 100 or over?
We already talked about a few things that help you live longer.
Yeah, you kind of changed my belief on that a bit more recently. We used to kind of have a debate about that. I didn't originally I didn't want to live that long. I never wanted to live until like I was 100 because everybody I've ever seen that was that age, it didn't seem pleasant to me at all.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like it was even worth it to live past a certain age. And he brought up a good point that if you took care of yourself correctly, you can prolong that much further. I'm not saying that I still want to live to 100 or anything, but think about the lady when we were working the Keystone Games the one year that was like 96 and ran the 5K, or jogged or walked the 5K, whatever she did.
The way I look at it, like I'm 40 now, I feel better or the same the whole time. So I'm thinking like when I'm 50, I'll feel a little bit worse, maybe a few percent, but not like fucking the regular 50-year-old today. When I'm 60. Maybe I feel like a regular 40-year-old, right? So, but when I'm 70, maybe I feel like a 50-year-old. Then 80, I feel like a 60-year-old. Then 90, I feel like a 65, 70-year-old. And then maybe, I'm going at 91. I mean, but like, you shouldn't like be from 60 to 90 barely walking and not be able to take care of yourself. Like that's a shitty, like I don't want that. I want to be at 90 training, you know what I mean, doing shit myself. And maybe 95, a little bit less, and then maybe 96. I never see 96. But it's like this. But
you think about
it's
like
not like struggling for 30 years.
You pass
and then
peacefully.
your kids have to take care of you. Like I don't want that shit. You know what I mean?
Think about the biological age clock, because I wanted to go back to that anyways in relation to like prolonging your life. But if you think of our grandparents, for example, like
Our grandparents lived to an old age.
I'm saying our current grandparents, like the ones that are still alive.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying like the type of lifestyles that they live, and I'm not gonna say like my grandfather, for example. I mean, he's smoked cigarettes since he was 13 years old, so he lives a wild life. But for him and my grandmother is fairly healthy, but has lived in a household with like cigarette smoke since. I mean, they've been married forever. But they are both 77, I believe. I want to say 76 or 77. But if I had to guess, like biologically, if I were looking at their biological age clock, I would say it's probably closer to like 85.
I'll show you this guy. I'm gonna find it. He's a Polish guy. He's 75, I think now.
Yeah.
He looks unbelievable.
But I wanted to bring that up too, anyways, because in relation to like prolonging your life, you know how like today, like we're studying a lot of things revolving around like anti-aging principles. Like even going back to like Cooper Page, like the conversation we had with him.
Look him up on Instagram. Just put up and look up some of his stuff, what he does.
What's his name?
Fit Old Boy. I like that.
Fit Old Boy. I think he's like 73 or something, 75, and he looks unbelievable. And you can see what he looked like when he was 60.
There's another guy like this in America that's kind of similar to him. I forget his name, but you know the guy that I brought up to you recently, the guy that goes to the grocery store, he'll like grab the bread and he'll be like, "Stop eating this shit." Yeah, like he's that guy.
Oh, this dude. You know this guy?
I've talked to him on Instagram before. I don't know him personally.
Oh, so he got healthy.
Yeah.
But do you think he's doing like testosterone replacement therapy?
People have impressing him to come out about that, but he said he never did anything like that.
But why is it wrong if he did though?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Why? But he said he never did. That's the thing. So
yeah, that's the problem with some of that stuff. Though, like that's similar to even like the Liver King thing. Like, why not just admit it?
Yeah.
If you do it.
Yeah, but
again,
he looked crazy. Like everyone that's in the right state of mind.
Yeah, you had to be crazy to
not know that.
This guy's wild. Bro.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? It's like what's the other guy's name? It's like Eddie something. It's Eddie. No, what the hell am I thinking about?
This guy looks like he's 40.
Guy.
Yeah, right.
Looks like he's 40 years old.
Yeah, he's jacked.
That's what I want to be when I'm like 70. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man.
Eddie Abu, this fella. You ever see this guy? He's really big on Instagram.
Let's see.
But I think he's more of a nutrition
okay,
guy.
I've seen him. Yeah, he talks about nutrition.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he'll show you like this bread that you're buying from the store. Like, stop eating this shit. He always said like, stop eating this shit.
Okay, I know who he is.
That guy, yeah.
No,
His
this
page
is
pretty
awesome.
interesting too. This is Eddie_Abu for people watching the podcast that might be curious about who we're talking about. And then the other guy, what did I say? It was Fit Old Boy. That was the other one on Instagram.
Message him, see if he can come to your podcast.
Hell yeah, I would love it.
I would go to Poland and do it.
Yeah,
100%.
You should
that-
do a tour. I can get you some good people.
Is
You
that
think
where
so?
he's from?
Yo,
Yeah,
I would
he's from
do it.
Holland, yeah.
I would
If
100%.
you guys come, I can get you really good guys.
We love to
What do you
travel.
think?
man.
You think Joanna would do a pod?
Yeah, I can probably talk to her. Yeah.
Really?
Oh shit! Let's
Dude,
make it. We got.
We staying at your house though? You're gonna get us the
Cold
stainless
plunge.
steel, eating the chicken eggs,
Yep.
Yep, the beef
I'll
tallow.
show you how it's done.
dude. You watch what you say, man, because we will be over there,
We're
wrecking
vultures,
up your
man. We're
house,
vultures.
making a mess, being
Our
up.
friends. Yeah, tell
Yeah.
them to reach out to JJ. Like, out there at Matt Sachs. Anyway,
Oh
shout
yeah,
out
they
you guys.
regretted that, bro.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go, we stay with our friends, and they're always like, "Yo, I can't wait for you guys to get out of here, man." 'Cause- no, we're crazy. I guess we're not crazy. I'm not saying we're crazy, but
Right.
you know, we get silly. I guess that's
I
all.
would love to go to Poland though. That's pretty cool. See my ancestors.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
We get
Oh,
silly.
yeah,
That's all.
we get silly.
We're young. We're silly.
Yeah.
But,
You get to see us in a more professional setting doing this stuff. But I mean, man, outside of cameras, we get wild. There was one thing I know you said earlier that you wanted to call back to, and we've been doing this for a long time, so we'll get you out of here shortly. But you were talking earlier, and I just wrote this down. I could be butchering this, but I just wrote down Human Performance Conference, and then you put Modified Strongman Conditioning. Did we already touch on that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Oh,
we did. We talked
Okay.
about
I just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
make sure because that's what I do
Yeah.
with my checklist most of the
Yeah.
time is I'll cross that stuff off. But I forgot to get rid of that one. But shoot, man, hell yeah, here we go, another banger, man.
Yeah, go buy the book. Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yep.
So you can
It's
buy it on
available.
Amazon. The 10 aspects of sports performance.
Yeah.
Right. Go check that out. Let's get healthy as possible. Let's get jacked,
I
everybody.
know.
You know, we can't be eating microplastics. Get rid of your stainless steel pots and ditch the microwave. I don't know if you were-
keep the stainless steel pots.
keep the stainless steel. Get rid of the non-stick shit. It's not
Yeah,
good
what-
for you.
What's with the microwave too? Like, what's
I
going
don't know.
on?
Ask Mirek, bro. He's the man.
What's the thing with the microwave?
I can't tell you exactly, but
It's the
definitely-
chemicals you
but
were saying.
heating the food up in 30 seconds can be good for you.
Yeah.
So I haven't used one in like 20 years.
Really? I always wondered how that shit worked. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you always hear, or traditionally, I guess you could just say, maybe it's just within me, I don't know. But I always assumed that was bad for you. But again,
Yeah.
it's like just with anything else, like I don't know why it would be.
I mean, you can't see what's going on. Like, what's heating up the food? It's not fire.
It's definitely not nature. Definitely not nature doing that.
Yeah, what is it? Is it radiation? Is that what it is? But
you
like,
guys-
what kind of radiation, though?
So
It's
you want
not-
to eat radiation?
Microwaves.
Yeah, well,
It's
yeah.
microwaves.
Yeah, so I don't want to eat that.
That's- well, I guess in today's day and age, I mean, I guess you really got to sort through the weeds of what's out there. But that's why I like doing podcasts with people like you, Mirek. 'Cause It's cool because, again, I learned like probably 10 new things today that I didn't know.
So that's the thing. I mean, I know a lot of stuff. I can't explain a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of smart people, and I know who to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they explain things much better. I'm just a
Yeah.
strength and conditioning coach that
Right.
tries to be healthy and spread knowledge about healthy
Yeah.
living. I'm not claiming to be an expert in nutrition and healthy living. I pick up things from different experts
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
the world and just try to implement that in my life and my family's life. But mainly, I'm strength and conditioning coach,
Yeah.
or 100% of my time, I'm strength
Yeah.
and conditioning coach.
Well, you're one of those guys for us.
Yeah.
You know, like who do I go and listen to? We go and listen to you. We have you on our podcast every now and again.
And that's
You know,
hard.
we
I mean,
walk
it's,
away.
in this day and age, it's hard to know who to listen to. It really
Yeah.
is. There's so many people out there creating different studies or content or whatever it might be, papers, books, whatever, revolving around a certain subject. And again, because of how vast the internet has made all of this information, it's very hard to really sort through it and figure out who's right, who's wrong, what is really going on out there in the world. And truthfully, I don't really know the answer to that question. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, it's tough these days because like back in the day, like when YouTube first came out, like only like the people that were sharing knowledge about like strength training were like real experts. Like they were not sitting in their basement. They're
Yeah.
not like 20-year-olds. They're just like lifting it. Like now it's like you have like millions of experts, like you
Yeah.
said, and like people really are confused about
Yeah.
different things, like about training, nutrition, health, lifestyle, what's good, what's bad. Like they get these the misinformation about from different angles. So like you said, it's really tough
Yeah.
to listen to someone. So if you find like a mentor, like I do, or like I know who to listen to, and I find different people and I try to implement and take away the things that I can do with my life. But it's not easy these days. We live in the best time, I think we could live in, best times, because you can have access to everything.
Yeah.
But the amount of information we are bombarded, like we get every day,
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's tough to digest all that and go through the cracks to find out
Yeah.
what's really true.
Yeah,
Agreed.
we live in a time of the most opportunity and the most temptation,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to read real quick too, because I saw this at the end of the book, but I didn't want to
read that. That's actually awesome. I love that quote.
It was the very final page. I saw it earlier, and I recognized it was a good one, so I didn't want to ruin where we were at in the state of the podcast at the time to mention this. But I thought, like, from what I read of it, it sounded very interesting. So I guess we can close up on this. So the end passage of your book from a guy named Maureen Williamson, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, he said that She.
Yep.
Sorry. She said that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you to not be? Your playing small, rather, does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
That's awesome.
That's a killer one. I like that. That's great.
That's from Coach Carter, the movie. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's a basketball movie.
What is it, Coach Carter?
Coach Carter, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool, man. You're one of my favorite podcast guests. I love having you on the show.
If I'm back, I would love to come back.
Oh, we're coming to Poland, man. You open that can of worms.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'll make it happen. I'm telling you, dude. We'll reach out to you one day. Yo, man, like, we're really thinking about making this happen. How can we do it?
Awesome, yeah.
And I would love to get it work. That was one thing we were really I know we told you a little bit prior to this podcast starting. This week has been goddamn crazy for us. But one thing we really wanted to do with you, and we mentioned this last time, was getting like a really cool workout video. I think that would be awesome to do with you in the future too. So whenever you're back here, let's do something like that. Hop on another pod, or you know, we'll make something like Poland definitely.
We'll figure it out.
All right,
but yeah, man. Thank you for coming on the show again. I love having you here. I love learning from you, and you know, you're an expert, and you're passionate about what you do, and I think people can appreciate that, and people can definitely learn from these episodes. And go buy the book if you're serious about taking your fitness and your health seriously. This is the book. So
absolutely, right in the description below. It'll be right down there, top of the page. You'll see it. Click that, give it a look, check it out, see what you think about it, and possibly order it. If you do, I definitely think you should look into it. Mirek, thank you again, man, for coming on the pod. If you want to tell the people where they can find you, I know we just mentioned where they can find the book, but if they want to find your social pages or anything else you're involved in, where can the people find you?
My website is mirostrength.com. So MIRO strength.com. And I'm probably most active on Instagram. So it's my first name, Mirek, MIREK _BABIARZ. And that's my Instagram.
Let's go.
Page,
sounds good.
Check them out.
Again, everything will be in the description below. Even on our pages, Instagram, you'll see all the content. You could just go right to his page. You'll be tagged in everything. If you guys did enjoy this episode, please like, subscribe, share with a friend. And who knows, next time you guys see Mirek on the pod, we might be out there in Poland somewhere. Son. Let's
do it.
Terrorizing Poland, man.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We love you guys. Peace out. It's been real. Let's go.
Peace.